my God. I'm still not awake. I'm still not awake. I'm so sleepy. Great, I can finish my dishes. Neil! Neil, you didn't stay for the movie. Although I know that it was late, and that was a dumb movie. It was. I just saw it, and I was like, I think I've seen this before, and I think I probably had seen it before when it, because it came out in like '86. So on a very whim, I played. Oh man, what was it called? Nomads. with Pierce Brosnan. It's an old 1986 like I guess horror film, but it's not that scary. And it's about I don't know, it's about you know what? I can't even tell you what the plot was because I don't really understand it. It was actually a really poorly made film with a really poorly written but I was just in the mood for a bad movie, so it worked out really well. Anyway, I slept in. I don't know what happened, and I'm all like discombobulated, but I'm gonna make it. um. Anyway, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thanks. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Look at this is a Lolo's lounge mug. One of the collector items. Okay. So I actually lined up a bunch of clips for us to watch, and I definitely have some document or some things to read. So, and I think right now, maybe not right now, but I think there's a gal somewhere that's protesting for trans rights in the military at a military base. So I can't tell you where, and I can't show you pictures, but I saw them, and I'm so proud of Gal. I can I talk about Gal for a second? I think I will because it's my show, not yours. Um, so Gal Suburban, I've gotten to know her very deeply over the last few years and spent a lot of time with her. And I can honestly tell you, she is one of the most compassionate and driven by love people that I've ever met. And, I think she really helped me also see the ridiculousness of focusing on political process and understanding it, but then also looking beyond it and looking at the relationships that people have and just all of that stuff. And I mean, I was first drawn to her. It's thorough. Yeah, exactly. She really does try to. Oh, whoops. Sorry. Too much fan. It's a little warm here today. But anyway, Gal's just the real deal. What you see is what you get. What you hear is what you get. That's Gal. I can tell you honestly. Like, if she's if she's in a chat or on a space, she's the same Gal as she is face to face, or on phone calls and whatever. So, so I just wanted to say that, and I know I kind of go, but you know what? Here's why I effuse so much. It's not only just part of my my personality, right? To be effusive. I really feel deeply about one thing, and I know this is going to sound really stupid, but this really does drive a lot of how I view the world. Yeah, hello. Um, I believe everyone wants to be seen and heard, you know? Like I think people want to be seen. And I think that's human and I it's like I feel like life is so short that if you don't tell people and give them see them, if you don't see them, and uplift what they're doing, um I don't know. I think that's just a great gift, right? When people of their own accord tell you, hey, you know what? I think you're really a great person, and this is why, and da da da. That's why I effuse, is because I want people to know before life is over that what they're doing or whatever is really great. And I think more people, I want to see everyone in terms of what they're trying to do and that. Um, and so I know I effuse a lot, but it really is sincere in that I feel very deeply that I want people to be seen, and I want to tell them, this means something to me. What you do means something to me, you know? And I think that's, I don't know. I've always been that way, and I think I don't know. It comes from the heart. And I'm not trying to blow air up people's skirts. I'm trying to just say, you know what? Before we leave the planet, I need to tell you, you guys have an impact on me. Like you have a positive impact. Because I think everyone wants to have a positive impact. And so I'm going to make sure if someone does, that I'm going to tell them they did so that they get that gratification. That, you know, she's good looking, smart, and encyclopedic in knowledge. She actually does have a photographic memory or whatever that is. Why wasn't she on MSNBC? Oh yeah, she's not a former Republican. Max. I'm not trying to put Gal on a pedestal or anything. I'm just trying to tell you about the gal I know and the people I know, and say, hey, there's a lot going on there. There's like a lot of empathy and a lot of love. And that's what Gal is to me. She really is like this expression of empathy and love in everything she does. And she's not just, a data nerd. She really feels it. And she really has taught me a lot about, just understanding landscapes a lot more and giving me tools to do that. Yeah. And she's very passionate about this. She's very passionate. And she, anyway, all right, we're not going to go on, but no, I was just extolling the virtues of Gal for a moment, because she really works hard and all the time, to pull out and tease out these pieces of information and then, start to draw them together or see where the patterns emerge. And so she is very detailed in her research work. She's dedicated, yeah, Teresa. And Teresa's another one who's also the same, OSINT kind of doing her thing and pulling together information that is helpful to understand as we go through this. So, and the other thing I was saying, Jane, is that my personality is one that I really sincerely mean it when I effuse about people, and I, tell you guys how much I appreciate you and all that stuff. That is really just part of my personality. I do that, and it's because I really feel deeply that one thing in this world that people want is to be seen and to be heard. And I don't know. I feel really, uh, I don't know. I feel like that's that's something I can do. I can tell you when you've made a positive impact on my life. You know, I can share that with you, and hopefully that encourages you to just feel good about what you're doing. And that's like a gift, right? Like that's giving a gift of like, I want you to feel good about yourself. And I want you to honestly, like, yeah, I hope so. Gosh, I hope so, butterflies. I just really feel strongly like people want to be seen, and they should be seen. Everyone should be seen. So anyway, I don't know. I know sometimes I feel I probably sound really goofy, but it really does come from my heart, and I just think life is too short, and I think you need to tell people when they've done something wonderful, and that's really important. Anyway, all right, that's your morning corner of love and whatever. Oh, good. We do believe you when you tell us good things. Being kind is my philosophy, and I'm not always kind, obviously. And I don't suffer idiots very well. I have very little patience for idiots. So I have a very short fuse. We all know this. I'm a work in progress, and I will never be fixed. But while I'm here, I'm gonna try and do some good stuff. It is a Pillsbury Doughboy laugh, which is terrible because I'm gaining some weight, so I need to not become Pillsbury Doughboy. In fact, I looked at. Oh my god, I went and just exchanged something yesterday that I had bought because it was too small. And I'm like, okay, listen, girl, listen, get your fucking ass out of that fucking chair and start moving, or else you're gonna gain all the weight you ever lost back again. Kind with a bit of snark makes the world go round. I agree with that. I know. I know. I mean, it's not a terrible thing. I probably could have worn what I bought, but it wasn't comfortable, right? It was just a little snug. So I'm like, fuck. So start with diet. Yeah, no Cheetos. How about no Cheetos? Listen, my diet is so bad, butterflies. It is literally coffee, weed, Cheetos. No, actually, that's not true. I've moved off Cheetos. Now I'm onto really good tortilla chips. Um, so if I can really step away from the tortilla chips and all of that stuff, it'll be, you're right. Good morning, Muskie. How are you? Cheetos are 90% air. That's right. No, I really do. My diet's fucked up. My diet's fucked up. I'm not drinking enough water. What the hell? Whole grain tortilla chips? Yeah, I know, but the people at the people at Casa Sanchez don't make whole grain tortilla. These, by the way, are the best chips in the world. I don't know if you know that, but these are the best chips in the world. Period. Full stop. Casa Sanchez. Write it down. Why do I have them next to me? I don't know. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Be as kind as you can be, but stop when necessary. No, I enjoy my moments of ass ripping. Are you kidding me? I love ass ripping. I love a good ass ripping. Aren't they always made from whole grain? I mean, that's not a grain. Corn's not a grain, I don't think. Is it? Wait a minute. Is corn a grain? Is corn a grain? Really? Yeah, being kind starts with this. I have a grab bag. I have everything I need. I'm in the pod. I'm in the pod. I vote yes to corn as a grain. Okay. I don't know what I thought it was, but I did not think it was a grain. Oh, shit. I'm 61 years old and I didn't know corn was a grain. Holy shit. Yikes. Oh boy, I'm sorry. They have a skin dermis and a germ. Okay. I mean, I don't know what it means. You know what? I can't be an expert on everything. Hello. So it was the chips making the noise, not the crackling microphone. Carrie, that's funny. Pauline, I think you do, but I have another name there. I'll find you and wave hi in the comment. Oh, that's cool. I know. I don't. Here's another thing. You guys, I'm so bad. If you are a different handle on Twitter or X and you are a different name here on YouTube, there's a very strong chance that I don't connect those two. I am super dumb when it comes to connecting alternative names. So I really apologize. I'm terrible at it. I try. I'm not trying. I'm not resisting. I'm totally down. But I just can't fucking keep track of it. And then I inevitably mix up like all the Chrissies. There's 18 million Chrissies. I know. Max, I tend to know some of your alts I don't know. Okay, we've had this discussion. You've got some great alts. Here's the thing about Max Flower. Okay, I'll give Max Flower some love right now. Max Flower is an old troll. She's a troll, man. She's an old-timey troll. Like, she goes in, drops knowledge, and they freak out in the chat, and then But here's the thing about Max's trolling that I love so much over the last 3 years of watching her troll people mercilessly. Max can have alts come in, if she gets banned, she has an alt or something. I will tell you right now, she is able to change the speech patterns between those alts in ways that I bow down, because that's the key to really heavy duty, like legitimate professional trolling, is when you have an alt, because you'll inevitably get banned. So you have to come back in on an alt, a sock or whatever. But your alt inevitably will maybe speak in the same pattern, and people fucking pick up on that like crazy. I know this is kind of goofy, but they pick up on that. And she actually can do it so that you don't have any clue that those two alts are connected. And girl, I'm going to hand that to you. She's good. She's good. She's been, I would say Max is the top troll. I do think from the convoy on, I think Max is one of the top, if not the top troll. I think she's one of the top trolls. Oh, same with Discord names. Yeah, I get confused about those too. Anyway, so Max, hats off to you. You have always been my hero when it comes to bringing the other side down a peg or two or four. So, exactly, Max should give a class how to be a first-class troll. I don't know. I think it's a talent. I don't know. But this is my alt. Agreed. It is important to cultivate the different voice. I started out trolling the Mueller morons in 2016. God, you're good. But this is my alt. I think I know who that is. All right. Oh wait, I can see who it is. That's so funny. Oh, I can't. It's too much trouble. Anyway. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh my God, welcome to a very late wake and bake. You've already been awake. Okay, bye, Paulina. I'll see you later. Yeah, thanks, Obama. Hi, Jane. Yes, it is. It's important to cultivate the different voices. Anyway, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Wake and Bake with Lolo. I'm Lolo. And I have some things for you. Hi, Peace Love. How are you? I have some things for you to see. Let me show you. I have the Feelings music video linked to the top of my Blue Sky. If you would share that, that would be great. It'll get me more singing gigs, and I would appreciate it. So if you share the Feelings video that's pinned to my Blue Sky profile, I would very much appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming today. All right, I need to show you guys some stuff. Hold on. What is going on? That's like too big. Why does it make these screens so big? Okay, here we go. Wow, this is funky. How funky is your studio? Okay, there we go. That's perfect. All right. I got things. The youth of Gaza made an alternative. Really, Lisa? Good morning, Lisa. I'm sorry, I missed saying good morning to you. I love that. You'll share it? Great. On where? Where are you going to share it? So I can go find it. Because I would love to see that. Absolutely. All right, let me find this. Here we go. Where am I going? I'm going to go there. Do that. I've got a few clips for us to watch this morning. Saw it on Threads. Oh. Aw, boo. Thanks, Neil. Wait, what happened, Neil? Hello, Jane. And condolences on the Ontario election. You know, Canadians, I love you. I'm so sorry about your election in Ontario where Doug Ford and his party of Conservatives took, what, 80 seats? 79 seats? How many seats? Yeah, Gal's protest. 79 seats? I don't know. You guys ended up with a majority of seats for the fucking Doug Ford party, the Conservatives. I really don't understand that. Is it like Maine where you've got a lot of people that will vote on one issue and like, so here's what they do in Maine, right? Here's how they get people to vote in Maine. This is serious. They will put things on the ballot like bear hunting or moose hunting or hunting. They'll put some kind of hunting thing on the ballot in order to get the fucking Mainers who don't give a shit about anything. I love Maine, by the way. But there are a group of Mainers who are fucking weird, and they they will come out and vote if there's like a hunting thing on the ballot. So the fuckers in Maine will concoct some kind of weird fucking thing about hunting and put it on the ballot so that the assholes will go to vote. That's literally how they do. That's how they do it. It's so gross to me. I love Maine so much. That's where I raised my daughter. She went to elementary school in Maine. Like I love Maine. But anyway, pisses me off. That's what they do in Maine. I just waved hello on Blue Sky. I don't know how long I'll be on Twitter. Yeah, I know. I'm not sure how long I'll be on Twitter. I wish my ancestors had emigrated a couple of miles, 100 miles north in Canada. Dang it. If I only knew then what I knew now. Oh no, we're not going to settle there, dear. They're going to have a fucking, they're going to have a TV show failure. Racist slumlord. I would never blame Canadians for Ontario. I'm sad for you. I love you guys so much, and I've just gotten to know so much about what's happening in Canada over the last couple of years in terms of politics, and it's so fucking sad to me. It's so sad that idiocracy and disinformation have completely pushed us over the edge. And I actually didn't think it could happen. I didn't think that disinformation could be so powerful. I really didn't. I don't always buy the mind fuck stuff. I don't always, because I think that people have to have a proclivity towards these feelings in order to become that person. But I also understand that there's other psychological things at play, and that Mike Flynn, as an example, is very good at designing psychological mindfucks that don't feel like psychological mindfucks, I imagine. So, and I guess I'm just not prone because I don't have those worldviews. 67% didn't vote. Oh, wow. Is that typical? Like you get about a third of the population voting? I want to go to Nova Scotia. I'll move there. Or Newfoundland. I've been to Nova Scotia, I think. Is that where Yarmouth is? Is Yarmouth Nova Scotia? Oh, no. Is that not? I'm sorry. Very low turnout, 45% or so. That's really sad. And I know it's hard. See, we need to make voting easier. And that's why this whole paper ballots, one-day voting thing is not going to work. It's not going to work. And we're going to get less people voting, which I guess is the point. I guess the point is that the less people they have to control the outcome for, it's easier to control the outcome. I worry very much about the midterms, y'all. I am worried about the midterms. I think they're going to fuck with shit. I think they know that they've made an investment. Now it's getting serious. So let me say this. I think the midterms are going to be a serious shit show. Because I think they are determined, first of all, to have the trappings of democracy. You know, like an election and things like that, right? But I honestly have no confidence that this administration and their little friends aren't going to fuck with the midterm vote, because they know if they don't, oh shit. That means we're going to call subpoenas and impeachments and all kinds of stuff. Mark my words, these midterms are going to be fucking nuts. And I don't know how we overcome their machinations except to be loud and voting. Yeah, Putin and Erdogan are routinely re-elected. So I don't know what the answer is. Yes, Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. Thank you, Neil. I've been there before. That is absolutely a place I would live. I would live in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia in a fucking heartbeat. I love it up there. Love, love, love. I think it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. I think they will try everything they can, but in the House we have the special elections coming. Ah, yes, that's true. We have a lot of special elections. That's true. Actually, we should get a feel for where are the elections. You know what? Canada, you're not done. Ontario, you're not done. Don't believe that. Don't believe that. You can now, it's just a wake up call, right? It's just a fucking wake up call. Come on, you got this. You got this, Ontarians. Come on now. You can do this. Happy Boycott Day. Who's participating to shop only at local merchants today? Me. I'm not shopping at all today, actually. I have everything I need. But that, whatever. Judge on Supreme signed off on Trump. Yes, I have a story about that. Paul J. Good morning, Paul J. And good morning, Paul Langen. All the Pauls are here. We can start. The Pauls are here. No, I'm not giving up. Come on. If the old lady isn't going to give up, you guys can't, okay? Fucking suck it up. Suck it up, Buttercup. Come on. We're going to do this. Yeah, no shipping. We're going to do this. We're going to take back humanity. We're going to bring humanity back. Only at local merchants, LOL. Oh, oomph, stop. You're so goofy. I know. Don't do purity tests for this. Let people do what they're going to do. It might make, I don't know. I agree. I think shopping blackouts are really hard because you don't necessarily see they don't see any economic hardship from it. So I understand the criticisms of a one-day shopping blackout because frankly, it doesn't really send any kind of message. But I want you to know you mean something to me. I love the community that you've built, and it says a lot about you. Kind, loving people have the ability to create what you have. Thank you for that. Peace, love. Oh, my God. You are such a dear. Aw. That's so kind. That means everything. Thank you. Aw. Oh, I love you. Pepper says, I personally think that divesting, boycotting, and moving to local merchants only is the way. I definitely think that's worthwhile. And I think over time, shopping blackouts will work, right? I think if you absolutely boycott large retailers, you can have an impact on that, but it just takes a little more time than a one-day thing, that's all. Not a blackout if local merchants shine around the edges. It's true. That's true. It's not a blackout if we have any kind of transactions happening. So I understand that. I understand the criticisms. I just want people to feel like if that's what they can, be part of, then that's what they can be a part of. So I think we're building. I look at this as a building. I really do. I think we're building towards general strike. I actually think a walkout would be much more like there's a general strike right now in, where is it? Greece? There's a general strike right now happening in Greece. That's, I'll tell you what, the Greek, the French, man, they know how to do a fucking strike, okay? Those bitches get out in the street and they leave work. So I think if we get to the point where there's a national strike, now that might have like a larger, faster impact. The shopping blackouts, oh, they're for showing solidarity? Okay, I understand. Oh, Paul Langen, that's a really good point. That's a very good point. Shopping blackouts are really bringing attention to an issue. And no, Muskie, you may not order from Temu. You shouldn't order trash fashion anyway. Trudeau. Oh boy. A one-day shopping blackout could act as a gauge, right, of people's determination to protest. Yeah, I understand the criticisms 100%. I actually appreciate the criticisms very much. And I think that's how we get better, by the way, is to be able to be like, hey, this is not really the most effective use of our time, basically. If we're going to go around the system and just buy from local people, well, is that really sending a message? And I guess I understand that completely. And I think also it's a good point that this is really meant to show solidarity and more of a, I don't know, I want to view it as a first step. I don't know what it takes for this country to get out in the street. I'll be honest. When I was little, let's see, I was born in 1964. So I had awareness of what was happening in terms of protests and things like that. But I was probably too young to really recall when it was that people like got out in the street kind of thing, And I don't know what it's going to take for us to get to that point. I don't know. I don't know if we get to that point. I really don't. I don't know how that works. But I could see where a general strike and a work stoppage would be, you know, very impactful. But I don't know if you can get like critical mass, right, to do it. So we continue. So we continue to build on. Yes, use your not shopping time to call and overwhelm your U.S. Congress people today. We should do that. We should make a call on live. Wonder if we can call Adam Schiff. Well, do you think he'll pick up? What do I need Adam Schiff to do more of? Oh, God. Max, you would have made a great Canadian. Oh, absolutely. I think Max should be an honorary Canadian. Good morning. Hi, Gimme Coffee. Oh, doing housework. Yay. I'm going to clean out closets today. Fuck yeah. Oh, Lee, that must feel so good. That's so good. Shopping in independent instead of chain stores will make a difference, and paying in cash also helps keep money in the local economy. Oh, that's interesting, Carrie. Good idea. No, I think I don't begrudge any effort to like show support for resistance, but I totally understand the fact that it's not necessarily like there's a lot of exceptions, let's put it that way. I also want to say thank you for all the intelligence in this community. I've learned so much, and you've helped me understand and put together all this craziness. It really helped me not go nuts. Oh, peace, love. I just adore you. I adore you. That's very kind of you to say. Oh. And it deprives the big banks of their fees. Yes, it does. It's like cash is an important point. Yeah, I think that's an interesting idea where that's an interesting idea where as much as you can paying in cash. I wonder if you over time could completely well, you can't because bills and stuff like that. Gosh, I don't know. What I love most about Lolo, yay! It's what I love about Lolo Day. Whoop whoop. I should sleep in more often. Lolo is a unifier, and she sees the best in most folks, especially when we stick our foot in our mouths, in text mouths. Oh, I don't want to be a police about language. I just want everyone to. I want to learn. I just want to learn. Okay, done. You're an honorary Canadian. Yep. Move to local credit. I'm at my credit union. I use a credit union. Bobo uses like a community bank kind of thing. I don't know. Yes, but editors are necessary. I agree. I agree. I agree. And for me too. Like this is a give and take, okay? Cuz I fucking stick my foot in my mouth multiple times. So, I just adore you guys. I just want you to know this time means a lot to me, so I'm really appreciative. I think we've got a good thing going. We got a good thing going. We got a good thing going. And I would actually not want us to all agree with each other all the time. I think that I like that we don't always agree with each other. I learn stuff all the time from stuff that I had one idea about, and then one of you will say something and I'll be like, "Oh shit. I didn't think about that the right way." So, anyway, I just want you to know, I think it's really great. I think you're really great. But I actually have shit for you today. You just don't have to listen to me. Don't listen to me. First of all, can I say something about Keir Starmer? Oh, wait, is that today? Oh, no, that's not today. Okay, can I say something about Keir Starmer's thing? Yeah. Max is like, where's my free healthcare? do I get a toque? I don't know if that's the sound. It's the Love Bomb Tour. Whoop, whoop. No. It's meaningful. Gosh, you know what? This is what life is made up of, you guys. God. I have someone in my life right now who's facing death. And I'm telling you right now, I'm learning so much about life. And I just think it's absolutely, there's no time. There's no time in this world. Make the fucking most of it. Please. Please, please, please. Is Venus going direct? Maybe. I think Max should have a toque. So I just want you to know, like, this is why it's important, is because life is too fucking short. So it just is, period. So totally, totally embrace it. Thank you. Yeah, it's a hard time right now, but we're gonna, it is what it is. But at the same time, it really is bringing home that life is so incredibly fragile and so incredibly short. And it's just not something. Yeah, it is sad. Thank you. But it is a reminder that it's just so precious, who we have in our lives. And it doesn't mean you have to love everybody, right? Like, that's not the point. But it puts in stark contrast what it feels to know that you're not gonna be on the planet, right? So, that's why it's driving home for me even more that uh, it's just all of this is too much, is precious. All of this is precious. And that's why it feels good to fight for other people who are being right now attacked. I'm so proud of Gal standing for trans people in the military in a place where it's might not be popular for her to do that, but she's out there right now standing in front of a military base as people commute into the base. And I can't show you pictures because it'll dox her, but I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud. She really cares so deeply about people. And I know it's just been a great thing. So life is short. That's my message. Life is short. Don't fuck it up. No. No, go ahead and fuck it up. Now back to Keir Starmer. Sorry, I diverted. Keir Starmer. Yeah, it is brave, right? Because that's putting yourself out there. Um, Keir Starmer yesterday, I watched the Oval Office and then I listened to a little bit of the press conference-y type part. I don't think I heard the whole thing. So I understand that world leaders are very, kind or very, their job, they view diplomacy sometimes as flattery, right? Flattery for them is part of like how I don't know. But yesterday, here's the thing that kind of bugged me about Keir Starmer. I think Keir Starmer and Macron and all those really did kind of own the time with Trump. However, they don't understand which audience they're playing to. Well, actually, that's not true. They're not aware of the audiences they're playing to. That's what I mean. Because they're probably playing to like their home country and whatever, right? To some degree. But and less so Macron, because I think he was kind of like, he was actually pretty snarky with Trump and Trump was just too dumb to get it, whatever. But Keir Starmer was kind of like, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your leadership. And it's like, what the fuck, Keir? Okay, that might work in a normal setting with a normal person, but you're not sitting next to a normal person. You're sitting next to a guy who will take any flattery and act like he owned your nuts. Okay? Now, I don't know if you want to have, I guess, but here's the thing, Carrie. I don't think it works to their advantage. I don't think it works to their advantage. I mean, I'm not a diplomat. But I don't think it really works to the advantage. Now, again, those are tense moments and stuff like that. Benny Loco got a whole crowd chanting "No Kings." Oh, that's so great. Where, Paul? At a concert or something? Or one of my UK friends posted on another platform that the King didn't invite the idiot dump. The idiot Starmer did. Caught me off guard. Wait a minute. So that was okay, Lee. That's a good one. Okay, so oh my God, the moment when he read the letter. First of all, can we agree that Trump can't read because he couldn't read the letter from the King? He made Keir Starmer read the most important part, I guess. He was uncomfortable on the cold, doing a cold read of a letter. You flatter him, you get him to sign stuff, I guess. Oh, you're right, Carrie. I'm going to believe that you're absolutely right. It just kind of bugged me, right? Like I was like, really, Keir? You're like being a little more whatever at a town hall. Oh, okay. It's on the suffragettes channel, spelling bad. How about the foreign reporter that was calling him on his shit? I wish I knew his name and that ours take some tips from him. Oh yeah, what was that? Where was that piece, love? Over the past year. Oh wait, Val came in with, "Hi Val, hi love. Pluto is in Aquarius and the planets are aligned today and night. So I just walked in listening and praying we didn't lose someone." No, we didn't. We didn't lose someone. We didn't lose someone. Val, you're good. You're good. I love you, Val. Let's see. What else did you say, Val? Over the past year, as Pluto briefly entered Aquarius and then moved back out, I've heard an intriguing question come up more frequently. Are we on the brink of a new era? Well, I think that's what they say, right? I mean, didn't that happen when it's like something moved out of Uranus? No. I get, Carrie, you actually have totally hit it here. The stakes are too high in Europe to poke the bear. You're right. You're right. Could this be a leap in consciousness and a step into something better? Or are we potentially heading towards a dystopian or apocalyptic outcome? I don't know. Oh, says we're always on the brink of a new era. I hope so. Yesterday it happened, I think at the press conference, not in the Oval Office. Oh, see, I must have missed that piece, love. Damn. Last time it happened was in 1776, Paul. Are you kidding, Val? Are you kidding? Yeah, Paul Langan says, probably both. Apocalyptic dystopia and the land of milk and honey. There's a Starbucks on the corner. Really good astrology history channel. Ooh, cool, Val. I like that, connecting astrology with the historical events. I think that's so cool. Lawrence did a bit about those reporters. Oh, great, Jane. I will definitely look for that then. Hold on. Hold on to your love. You got to hold on. What was his name? What did you just say? Lawrence. Oh, ho, 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 ho. La, 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 la. Oh, here it is. Okay, well, here we go. Let's start. Let's start with little Lawrence in the morning. Yeah, we're going to be in a good era because we're going to make it good. Did you hear what Lawrence O'Donnell said about... Oh, here, we're going to actually play the Lawrence O'Donnell piece. Hold on. I got you. I got you.
States
don't think I have you.
Publicly.
Wait, hold on.
Well, Donald Trump was humiliated once again today in the Oval Office, sitting in exactly the same chair where he was humiliated in exactly the same way in this same week on Monday. Donald Trump made history on Monday by being the first president of the United States to lie publicly about America's oldest ally, France, with the president of France sitting right beside him. That created the historic humiliation touch seen around the world. President Emmanuel Macron of France actually reached across to put his hand on Donald Trump to stop Donald Trump from lying about France. Donald Trump said that Europe contributed less aid to Ukraine than the United States did. That's a lie. Europe has contributed more than the United States has. And Donald Trump once again told the lie that American aid to Ukraine was a donation, but European aid to Ukraine was a loan, and Ukraine was required to pay back France.
Yes.
And all the other European countries that have aided Ukraine. And that was a lie that President Macron could not abide. And that is when President Macron interrupted Donald Trump, had to interrupt him and stop him from continuing to tell that lie. Because Donald Trump is not now, and never has been, educable, 3 days later, Donald Trump walked into exactly the same humiliation trap in the Oval Office today with the British Prime Minister sitting beside him.
You know, they get their money back by giving money. We don't get the money back. Biden made a deal. He put in $350 billion. And I thought it was a very unfair situation.
We're not getting all of ours. I mean, quite a bit of ours was gifted. It was given. There were some lends, but mainly it was gifted, actually.
It was gifted, actually. Did you see that left hand? That's the interruption hand that the French president used. The British prime minister's left hand goes toward Donald Trump, but he's British. He's British. So
it's his thing.
He's not touchy-feely. He's not going to touch
It's on purpose.
But he does interrupt him, just like the French president did. Once again, Donald Trump told the deranged lie that the aid supplied to Ukraine by the British will have to be paid back by Ukraine. And that is the only thing Donald Trump said today that forced the British Prime Minister to actually interrupt him. The British Prime Minister did not see it as his role to correct Donald Trump for lying about the amount of American aid supplied to Ukraine. Donald Trump more than doubles the real number when he accuses Joe Biden of providing $350 billion in aid to Ukraine, when in fact it was $119 billion. It's the kind of Trump lie that everyone has grown accustomed to, especially the White House press corps. Of course, Donald Trump will lie about the numbers. He always does, any number. The Washington press corps seems to have internalized that to the point where they never zero in on his lies about the numbers. If any other president said $350 billion when the true number is $119 billion, every Washington reporter would instantly zoom in on that. But Trump lying is now fully built in to the press expectations of anything Donald Trump says publicly. Imagine a reporter asking, "Why are you lying about it, sir? Why do you keep lying about it, sir?" That actually happened in those exact words during the first Trump presidency, when White House reporter Andrew Feinberg got so fed up with Trump lies that that's what he ended up asking. Why are you lying? A lone voice emerging from the White House press corps then, coming out of the clamor, saying, "Why are you lying about it, sir? Why do you keep lying about it, sir?" And of course, Donald Trump didn't answer him. Today in the Oval Office, Andrew Feinberg, once again, asked the best question of anyone in the White House press corps.
On tariffs, you just said with China.
Who are you with?
I'm with The Independent.
Oh, that's good.
It's on tariffs. You just said with China. Thank you. We charge them. We charge them as in we charge China. But the tariffs are paid eventually by American importers and consumers.
Finally, a White House reporter confronting Donald Trump with the truth about tariffs for the first time ever. What's Donald Trump going to do? He's cornered. American tariffs are paid by American consumers. The truth that everyone in the world knows except Donald Trump and, I guess, Trump voters. Donald Trump, when he was cornered, did what he always does when he's cornered. He lied.
The tariffs are paid eventually by American importers and consumers.
No, they're not. No, I think they're paid for by the country. But, you know, look, we can get into that.
And that was the end of that. It's like saying gasoline taxes are paid at the pump by us when we buy gas for our cars. And Donald Trump says, no, they're not. The sad truth is, we don't actually know if Donald Trump is so deeply stupid that he believes what he is saying. I leave it to you to decide which would be better, a president stupid enough to think that foreign countries pay American tariffs, or a president who knows the truth but lies about it. It's one or the other.
I think it's both.
The British Prime Minister is sitting beside the President of the United States and is hearing the stupidest response by a head of state to a question about tariffs in the history of the subject of tariffs.
Of civilization.
There is a kind of person whose humiliation reflex simply doesn't work. That might be what's going on with Donald Trump. It might be that Donald Trump, sitting beside the British Prime Minister, saying the stupidest thing ever said by a head of state about tariffs is not something Donald Trump finds humiliating. But the world sees it as humiliating to Donald Trump.
I'm impressed with Claudia.
After the Oval Office session,
absolutely.
the President and the Prime Minister had lunch, and then were back in front of the microphones for a formal press conference in which, in his formal opening remarks, Donald Trump proved once again how relentlessly uneducable he is by telling the same lie that he was humiliated for in the Oval Office.
It's pretty standard.
Much of the European aid to Ukraine has been sent in the form of loans for which they expect to be paid back, and we didn't have that honor under the Biden administration. He sent money, or just send it money after money after money, and
Didn't we
never had
actually
any
send them old equipment and then
any knowledge
give our
of
own
ever seeing it
military
back.
industrial
Maybe
complex
300
the
to
new money?
350
Isn't that what we
billion
did?
dollars.
Am I wrong?
Manners dictated that the British Prime Minister not interrupt at that point because Donald Trump was struggling his way through a teleprompter read of his formal
I thought this
written
war just
opening
enriched
remarks
kind of
at the beginning of what was
military
supposed to be a
companies,
press conference.
actually.
And so those lies floated by unhindered by reality that time. The reality is that the Biden administration did not send money to Ukraine. The Biden administration sent weapons. The Biden administration sent ammunition, all of it manufactured in the United States. Almost all the money spent on aid to Ukraine was spent in the United States, buying the
That's what I
weapons
thought.
and ammunition made
what I
by
thought.
American workers in American factories. And again, it was less than half the amount Donald Trump
God, this
says
country's
it was.
dumb.
And no European country expects to be paid back for the aid they've supplied to Ukraine. Imagine my joy when Donald Trump made the mistake of choosing Andrew Feinberg for the first question in the press conference. A word here about the White House press corps. You've heard more criticism of the White House press corps on this program over the years than anywhere else on television. And so when the White House press corps gets it right, I want to be the first to honor that.
Exactly,
and Andrew
Kerry.
Feinberg got it right today,
Stuff
as
that
he
we
has
do
in the
for
past, which is
recycling.
why Andrew Feinberg will be joining us on this program tonight.
Carla!
When Donald Trump made the mistake of calling on Andrew Feinberg for the first question of the press conference, he heard the best questions asked by a White House reporter this year.
Thank you, Mr. President. Earlier today, you told me that you believe that foreign countries pay tariffs, but Americans who are concerned about higher prices believe, as most people do, that they're paid by consumers and importers when they import things into this country. Can you explain how you came to this belief that foreign governments are paying tariffs? And for the Prime Minister, did you discuss with President Trump his repeated statements of desire to annex Canada? And has the King expressed any concern over the President's apparent desire to remove one of his realms from his control?
Wow.
I'm in
It doesn't
love.
get better than that.
I'm in
Both
love.
of those
Where is Andrew
questions
Feinberg?
were perfect. And yes, sadly, Canada is part of the realm of the King of England, who unfortunately still appears on Canadian currency. So once again, Donald Trump was cornered. Can you explain how you came to this belief that foreign governments are paying tariffs? That is a perfectly phrased question. And Donald Trump had to be the first of the two to answer that two-part question.
So I'll go ahead. The first part, the tariffs are necessary because we've been treated very unfairly by many, many countries, including our friends, friend and foe.
Donald Trump went on to speak 150 words without ever answering the question, how do you come to this belief that foreign governments are paying tariffs? And in those 150 words, he didn't say that foreign governments are paying tariffs. He didn't bother to insist that foreign governments are paying tariffs when he got caught like that. He just talked in circles until he felt he
Really,
filled up
Max?
enough time.
He didn't remember that he called Zelensky
Ending with
a
this.
dictator?
But I will tell you, it's going to make our country rich, and it's going to stop us from being a laughingstock all over the world because we have been taken advantage of like no country has ever been taken advantage of.
Wow,
Thank you
he's
very
really
much.
He's kind
Donald
of
Trump
running
is
down,
a laughingstock all over the world for claiming that tariffs he imposes are paid by foreign countries instead of American consumers. If Donald Trump puts a tariff of 50% on a Samsung TV coming into this country, then you will pay 50% more for that TV. Tariffs are sales taxes. That's all they are. And the buyer pays the sales tax. And the man who is a laughingstock all over the world,
Word,
is the
Lisa.
only
Living
head
in the
of
age of
state
the
in
agreement.
history anywhere in the world who believes he has the power to tax other countries. Because Andrew Feinberg's question about Canada to the British Prime Minister was, did you discuss with President Trump his repeated statements of his desire to annex Canada? The British Prime Minister had an easy out for that question.
You mentioned Canada. I think you're trying to find a divide between us that doesn't exist. We're the closest of nations, and we had very good discussions today, but we didn't discuss Canada.
Yeah, so the laughingstock didn't
What?
discuss Canada with the British Prime Minister. The laughingstock president who wants to make Canada the 51st state did not discuss with the British Prime
There it
Minister
was,
whether the
Max.
King of England and the British government would be willing to agree to losing Canada from the group of British Commonwealth countries. We have every right to believe that Donald Trump was hearing for the very first time from Andrew Feinberg that there is any relationship at all between Canada and the guy who's going to appear on the next edition of their $20 bill, the King of England. The next great question asked at the press conference today was asked by a British reporter who unfortunately was just there for the day and won't be around to ask any more questions of Donald Trump.
Mr. President, tomorrow you're seeing President Zelensky to sign this deal on minerals and energy that could be hugely important to the United States. Will you take the opportunity to apologize to him for calling him a dictator while praising Vladimir Putin, who is a dictator?
Needless to say, Donald Trump simply did not answer Robert Peston's question. He just said, I think we're going to have a very good meeting tomorrow. That's what happens when a cowardly person is confronted with the truth. Donald Trump all but melted in reaction to the dictator question. Are you going to apologize for calling him a dictator while praising Vladimir Putin, who is a dictator? Donald Trump
7
delivered the
planets?
functional equivalent of
Cool.
speechlessness.
That's so cool.
Because Donald Trump proves in moments like that he does not have the courage of his convictions, because he has no convictions except the 34 convictions he earned in a Manhattan courtroom last year. Donald Trump doesn't believe anything. Donald Trump doesn't even believe Donald Trump. When Donald Trump calls President Zelensky a dictator, he knows he's lying, and he does not believe it. And so when he's called on it, as perfectly as a British reporter did today, Donald Trump's got nothing. The bluster is gone.
Bye, Tom.
We can only hope that the notes the other members of the White House press corps took today in that press conference included performance notes on how Andrew Feinberg does it and how the British reporter Robert Peston does it. That's the way they should all do their jobs in the White House press corps. While Donald Trump was being humiliated in the Oval Office by the British Prime Minister and his own ignorance, on the Senate floor, Senator Ruben Gallego said this.
This is a war that Russia started. Ukraine did not ask for it. They did not ask to go to war with a nuclear superpower, and they did not ask for their cities to be reduced to rubble. They didn't ask for their children to be displaced and families to be torn apart. If Ukraine had its way, this war would have ended years ago. What happened at the UN puts us on the same side as Russia and North Korea. That's not just embarrassing, it is dangerous. It sent a message to our allies and every other country that relies on the U.S. to stand up to bullies and defend that America can defend them and help them defend themselves, that America cannot be relied on to rightfully call out unprovoked aggression. It told them that they are on their own, that America's words means nothing.
Woo, woo, woo. Wait, stop. Stop. Oh my goodness. Let me get I think I have a live shot. Zelensky, we're going to probably, if I'm here, I think I'm going to be here for it. But anyway, the Zelensky meeting at the White House is going to be really interesting. But I have other things to show you. Hold on just a second and I'll get them for you now. Hold on, and I'm gonna get 'em for you now. Wait, let's see. Which one do I want? Oh, yeah, I want to watch this. This is 9 minutes. It's a Bloomberg podcast section, just like 9 minutes of it. Let me see. Let me make sure. Na, 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 na. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, great. Okay.
Bloomberg Audio Studios.
Bloomberg.
Podcasts, radio, news.
Money nerds.
I'm Caroline Hepker, and this is Here's
This is
Why,
just 9
where we
minutes. I
take
really
one
wanna
news
hear it.
story and explain it in just a few minutes with our experts here at Bloomberg. Most followers of US politics now know Mar-a-Lago, the summer residence and bolt hole of President Donald Trump. But financial markets are starting to talk about the resort for a different reason.
It's about taking your creditors into a room for the United States of America and actually saying you got to swap your treasuries for long-term debt. Now, this is radical. Nobody's saying that this is actually going to happen.
Now, why are we doing this? The idea is to reorient the world global trade system, which we seem to be trying to do with tariffs, to bring down the value of the dollar, to bring down interest rates, and to make the U.S. more competitive. That's what the goal is.
I don't think anybody's really taken a really creative approach to problem solving with regard to this debt. And what we're seeing out of the Trump administration in so many different parts is a very creative and new thought approach.
Trump is rewiring global trade with threats of tariffs. He's upended geopolitics, NATO, and the global security framework. Given the president's unconventional and high-stakes maneuvers, some on Wall Street are wondering if the international financial system may be next. The concept of deliberately weakening the US dollar to help the American economy is causing a stir in the markets. So here's why the idea of a Mar-a-Lago Accord has everyone's attention. Our global economy correspondent Enda Cohen joins us now to explain. Hi, Enda. What is this phrase, Mar-a-Lago Accord, and where has it come from?
At its core, it's all about how President Donald Trump wants to shake up the way the US trades with the rest of the world. And at the core of that is the US dollar as America's currency. And that's driving speculation that perhaps President Trump will look for some kind of a grand multinational bargain that would effectively end with a weaker US dollar that would help US exporters sell produce around the rest of the world. And the name that some analysts are calling it is, they're dubbing it the Mar-a-Lago Accord, after Trump's private club in Palm Beach, Florida. As I say, this is all early days and it's speculation, but the thinking is that at some point President Trump will turn his attention towards the currency and look for some kind of a big deal on that front.
OK, so that's on weakening the dollar. What could this possible concept, agreement, attempt to accomplish beyond that?
So here's the thing. The US trade deficit has blown out. It hit a record $1.2 trillion in 2024. President Trump is not happy with that. He sees that as America sending money abroad. Part of the story here is that the dollar is historically strong. That undermines US competitiveness by making imports cheaper and, of course, at the cost of their own exporters. And in fact, some analysts in the currency market look at the dollar today as being overvalued when you say base it on domestic purchasing power of a currency. Now, when you consider all of that, the thinking is that President Trump might at some point get his advisors together and say, how could we meaningfully weaken the dollar to help our exporters? And that's where you get into the mechanics of how this might work.
Indeed. How could a Mar-a-Lago agreement work?
So there are different ways of approaching it. One simple way would be that America would reach an agreement with key trading partners, asking those trading partners to boost domestic consumption of their own goods that they produce rather than sell their goods overseas at a cheaper price into America. That would reduce their manufacturers' reliance on exporting to the US, for example. And one case in point there, of course, would be China. It's a focus for its exports and huge manufacturing base. And the fact that it's able to export at a competitive price compared to its US counterparts. So the thinking is, look, you foreign trading partners buy more of your own stuff rather than sell it to us. That's one way to rebalance it. Another way, of course, could be to intervene in the foreign exchange market.
I have a question. Wait, I have a question. So what he's saying, I believe, is that the trade deficit about $1.2 trillion, which I don't actually understand what a trade deficit is, but I can look that up and learn about it. I imagine it's what we owe importers, or I guess, I don't know. But anyway, I'll find out. So if Trump, and also thinking about it, I was reading something by Dave Troy last night, and just a post, and he said, this isn't really about money. The money part isn't important because it's I don't know how to phrase this, but I almost got the sense that Dave was saying this is beyond the concept of money. This is almost destroying the concept of money to a next phase of economy. There was a phrase he used, and I can't remember what it was, but of kind of global economy practices, I guess. And there's a better word for it. But anyway, I just found it mind-blowing when he said that last night, and that's why this kind of caught my eye about the Mar-a-Lago Accord and what that means. So this is just a taste, and I know this guy's got a beautiful Irish accent, actually. Yeah, exactly. They want to move everything to the blockchain, I guess, as a way to hide money, hide laundering, basically just act with impunity, which is what I have always been, kind of looking at in terms of what's the end game, right? The end game. The end game is that, we want, they want no accountability. They want to basically generate whatever the products and services consumers need. They want to be the ones profiting off of that. So privatization, and whatever kind of machinations they have with eugenics, and then there's those Christo-fascists that want all the white babies. Like there's all these kinds of groups that are like seeing whatever whatever advantage they can get out of this. But this concept, this kind of post-currency world, I don't know how you say that. It's kind of a dumb thing. Seems to me to be a very important concept, and something that we should, it would be interesting to learn a little bit more about. So this is just a first taste of what we've got. And Gal, everyone loves that you're doing so much. Gal says they're attacking women in the military too, so I think it can be interpreted. Yep. The message was confusing. I don't think so. I think your message was good. Did you put up, which sign did you end up bringing? What'd you end up going with? Let's see if you say hundreds and hundreds. I just waved. Oh, let me see. No cash, everything on a card, right? Like the Neuralink, the whole Neuralink concept, and the whole, whatever. Oh, Carrie, thank you so much. Trade deficit is just that we buy more of their stuff than they buy from us. Oh, okay. So it's kind of almost just a gauge of what the difference is. Okay, that makes sense to me. Yeah. No cash. Patriotism knows no gender. This military spouse thanks you. Oh, that's really a great sign. That is such a great sign. And isn't, but in Neuralink, is that, so it's a brain interface. Is it also potentially a transactional thing? Or no? Have you not? Am I making stuff up? Am I making stuff up? Damn it. I don't want to make stuff up. All right. Okay, well, we're going to continue with this. I just love this. I love this kind of stuff. I love learning about something like as completely mind-blowing. Yeah, all data exchange. But I mean like purchasing. Payment system. Think payment system. It's politically neutral, and I hope it shows exactly. That's exactly it, Gal. It really does. But I think X is for now the payment platform. Oh, okay. All right. I see what you're saying. I was thinking down the line. Is that a potential? I mean, I'm sure it is. Anything's a potential, right? Yeah. At the end of the day, everything. NeuroPay. X has to run on the brain before the brain chip can pay. There you go. What a weird science fiction novel this turned out to be. My, what a strange science fiction novel we ended up in. Who wins? Which science fiction novelist got closest? I look forward to your opinion on that. That's actually a great question. No, I really mean this. My question is which author of all time in science fiction genre got it right? Got the post, the Elmo world, just to make it shorthand. Read Dave Troy. What he's saying is probably right, but if MAGA can't grasp the concept and are mad about possibly losing money, then I'll frame it like that just in case we can win more over. Absolutely. Anything is worth it, Jane. Anything. Neuracell. And then brain implant for incels. Margaret Atwood. All right. That's a good one. I'm so curious. Philip K. Dick, Max says. Oh, man. I don't know. I don't know. I'm curious. I'm not as well read on that genre as I would like to be. But I'm not I don't really, I can't have an opinion because I know I'd be woefully under it. Yeah, for women's fertility controls, 100%. Handmaid's Tale, fuck. Although I don't know if it's going to be that regimented. You know what I mean, Paul? I don't think these guys really care. I think it's more like Pottersville. With strip clubs and surfs. Dick anticipated so much of the world. That's interesting. I'm very curious. I would love to hear people's opinions on that. That's really great. All right, here we go. Let's continue listening to this fine Irish young man. He's a great boy. Comes from the East, Dublin. Mayberry plus Idiocracy. I don't even know if they care that much. I don't think they care. You do know Elon Musk on giving birth to humans, androids, and I read that first one as humans, androids, and cheese. I always took them as thought experiments or warnings rather than predictions. Oh yeah, no, I don't mean to say they predicted. I mean to say who got closest. Who Price is Righted this bitch. Oh, Zelensky just arrived. Okay, I'll pull that up. Pottersville. No, Val, it's from It's a Wonderful Life. Remember the scene where he's going back in he was never born. George was never born, and he goes back to Bedford Falls, and it's become Pottersville, and it's all a bunch of strip clubs and check cashing places, and like it's a bunch of predatory lending and all kinds of shit going on. Yeah, exactly. That's what it feels like. It's like Pottersville. Philip K. Dick. Yeah, Philip K. Dick. The back of the sign that says, first they came for, history is watching. Oh, God, Gal, that is really good. I might steal that. Actually, I might steal both those. I'm not the military spouse, but Ian Fleming's supervillains, Carrie says, and Huxley. Predictive? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they're... Okay, so let me see if I can find Zelensky. Hold on. Because I was looking for the man. For the man. For the man. For the man. What do I want? Do I want some talking head over it? Or do I... Oh, here we go.
A handshake looked relatively warm to me.
Unfortunately, it's...
Well, definitely. I mean, I think the body language of the meetings, just as Trump usually does, is going to be quite cordial and it's going to be quite strong. Trump often tends to criticize his guests before and after they come, but usually doesn't get into altercations with them while they're there. So this isn't really that surprising.
In terms of what they will now discuss once they are in private, or at least alongside their teams, what do you expect?
Well, I think that there'll be a lot of areas of discussion. I mean, obviously, I think the rare earth metal deal will be signed, and there'll be some discussions about the possibilities of how those metals can actually be extracted. I mean, I think that Zelensky might use this as an opportunity to secure American reconstruction investments. The American side might be asking questions about whether Zelensky would be open to shipping some of these metals to China. because that could create a bit of a friction. But then there'll be issues that will go well beyond the deal at hand. There'll be discussions probably about security guarantees going forward. And there'll be discussions about, I think, again, the Ukrainians will raise the issue of NATO membership, probably with resistance from the U.S., but I can't see them not trying.
Samuel, let's focus
Doesn't
on
it look like that
the
person's
mineral
like floating
deal,
on top of the
because,
trees?
Ed Conway,
I'm really high, but
our data editor earlier on, was pointing to the US,
weird.
well, taking it straight out of the Chinese soft playbook, if you like. I mean, for decades, really, they've been doing mineral deals with the likes of the DRC for cobalt in return for infrastructure. Do you see this deal between the US and Ukraine that we're expecting to be signed as being comparable to that kind of approach?
Well, definitely it bears many of the hallmarks of the Chinese approach. I mean, certainly pairing infrastructure for minerals is what China's been doing with the Belt and Road Initiative, and not just in DRC, but even in conflict zones where the difficulties of extracting the minerals are there. Like in Afghanistan, they've also been trying to do that, but international sanctions have stopped it. But the Chinese lesson should also give a cautionary tale. In DRC, as governments have changed, in particular when Kabila left, there were some populist resistance to some of these extractions, and I think that same thing will happen in Ukraine also.
Enslaved.
Many people I've spoken to inside Ukraine feel that the constitution basically guarantees these minerals as Ukrainian property, and the surrender of these minerals, even to an ally like the United States, is kind of seen as something that's a betrayal of the country's resources and wealth. So I suspect that Zelensky will be criticized for this during the elections once the war is gone, and that there will be populist candidates, maybe like some higher brands like Arestovich or more moderate ones, that use this against him.
Yes. Do you get a sense, though, that because of this approach on this deal and other more transactional language we've been hearing from President Trump since he came into the White House, that we're getting more of a picture of his approach now through this presidency towards foreign policy?
Well, I mean, this has always been his approach to foreign policy, right? When it comes to the defense of allies and bases, even like including those in South Korea, for example, it's always been about paying the cash out front in exchange for defense. And now he's trying to do the same thing retrospectively on U.S. aid to Ukraine, even though there were never those retrospective terms agreed in Lend-Lease or in any of the agreements since 2022. But I think that this is Trump going further than rhetoric on this. When he was talking about making allies pay, he talked a good line about it and imposed some tariffs, but never really pushed it during his first term. Now, in the first month of his second term, we're seeing much more concrete moves towards transactionalism than we ever actually saw. And I get a feeling that even though some people like John Bolton argued that Trump was willing to withdraw from NATO in his first term, but he was held back by his advisors, the feeling amongst European leaders now is that the U.S. commitment to NATO is even more fragile now than it was then.
Yes, and the US commitment to Ukraine joining NATO seems to have been blown out of the water. That said, plenty in Ukraine.
Did you hear him
still
yesterday?
Aspire
it will
to
not
that
happen.
Being a possibility.
That's what he said.
Look, you mentioned concrete conclusions there, Samuel. On that front and on others, what do you think is likely to be concrete
like, that was
after
crazy.
these two men re-emerge from the White House?
Well, one of the ideas that the Ukrainians were pushing, and it was engaging with Ukrainian officials and experts over the past few months, was that the part of Ukraine that is currently not under Russian occupation, that's safe from it, could join NATO with a plan to reunite with the rest of Ukraine, kind of like a West-East German Cold War type solution, right? Where they don't really actually recognize the Russian occupation de jure, but they recognize it de facto in the short term to focus on the part that they still have. So I think the Ukrainians got support from that from the Biden administration, as well as support for that from some European allies, and they were hoping that that would translate into the Trump's term. But it doesn't look like that's happened. And I think that it'll be pretty clear from the U.S. that it's going to take a lot for him to move Trump on this. And also, if Trump doesn't move on this, other European allies, that like Hungary in particular and Slovakia, will definitely not move on this. And the possibility of creating unanimity becomes hard. Even when there was so much U.S. support for the accession of Sweden and Finland, Turkey held that up, and Hungary held that up for more than a year and a half. So if that could happen with Sweden and Finland, worse obstructionism will happen with Ukraine.
Samuel, just to finish our final question, when President Macron was with President Trump on Monday in the White House, this idea of Russian assets being held in the EU cropped up. Donald Trump seemed to suggest, well, of course, Europe wants its money back, and President Macron rather corrected him, saying, no, we've been gifting money to Ukraine to support them in their war effort. But this idea of somehow gifting Ukraine those seized assets does not hasn't gone
It is
away.
a
Do you
spark.
think that remains a
Where have
possibility,
we
or is it
seen this
highly
before,
unlikely?
where one country
Well, I think that
becomes a
just shows the
spark?
difference in tone between Europe and the United States on the issue of Ukraine. I mean, Olaf Scholz also criticized this mineral deal on the grounds that, we shouldn't be talking about transactionalism and minerals to pay for Ukraine. Supporting Ukraine is something that's important for transatlantic security. It's intrinsically important to support a country that's facing aggression. And that's the point that I think that Macron was also trying to make, too, by emphasizing that he gives money to Ukraine, whereas Trump wants collateral. And that may have gone over Trump's head, but it was there. I think that definitely the issue of frozen assets are on the table. There's a growing campaign, even in this country, led by Bill Browder, to make sure that those frozen assets are distributed to Ukraine in a timely fashion. Obviously, the Russians will react furiously towards it, and it may also provoke some backlash from Saudi Arabia and from China and from other countries that invest heavily in the West and might be worried about falling afoul of the West at some point in time. But it's certainly something that's on the table, and it will happen if the U.S. takes more drastic steps to cut assistance to Ukraine.
Samuel Romani from RUSI, good to see you again. Thanks very much indeed for joining us here on.
Oh, I like that. I like that journalist. I'd like to read more of what he's writing, even though it's kind of Sky News. But Samuel Romani, I think. Wow, this whole mineral deal, this whole extortion that Trump is pushing. That's very interesting that it does align with Chinese Belt and Road Initiative and just the tactics and how those deals are structured and things like that. I know a little bit about the extraction stuff in the Congo only through the lens of enslaved children, mostly, or adults, but a lot of children are enslaved in the Congo in extracting minerals, as we've seen. So that's a huge issue. But it's interesting that the changing guard, right? The changing administrations in those countries also present a challenge and only set to entangle us in more conflict on the ground. Interestingly enough. No new wars. Oh yeah, just a lot of little ones. So that's interesting. I can't imagine what this meeting must have to be like if you have people like Steve Witkoff and whoever, Rubio or whoever else is going to be in that room. I can only imagine the dicks that this poor man Zelensky has to deal with. No, I haven't heard about the new fever. Which fever is hitting the Congo? So it's just really, oh yeah, sending so much strength. Everybody wants the minerals. So, it's so funny because remember, you know how the chuds are always like, yeah, it's a globalist, new world order, new world order, new world old order. Well, that's kind of like what their guys are planning is, in a way, a new world order with, kind of, again, this post-currency world, this kind of privatization world, this, extractive kind of balls to the wall rape of the natural world, so that it just powers their jets and so they can get from one party to, you know what I mean? Like, it's just hedonism. It's like this kind of raw hedonism that they want to achieve, but only for a few, only for the people that, that matter. Not a lot of other people matter. So anyway, interesting. It's all just very, actually, I think it was you, Lisa, that you said something about that science fiction, or Jane, maybe it was you, Jane. Forgive me. Oh, actually, Jane, you said it. I might have been more prepared if I had gotten into sci-fi. And I feel exactly the same fucking way. I feel like if I had read more science fiction, I at least might have had concepts in my head beyond whatever concepts I think I had. I'm going to go back to this chat because the chat will replay on the video in YouTube. So because all the stuff that all the names you guys have dropped, I think I would love to kind of put together I don't know, for my own edification, just a list of authors that it's worth checking out. Like Strauss, I haven't heard of Strauss, a contemporary writer. Thank you for that. So I think that's great. Val, when I found sci-fi as a preteen, I'd read every from an author before going to the next. Heinlein was one of my first ventures. That's so cool. I know a lot. Hey, more sexy aliens. God, hell yeah. Hell yeah. And nomads, yeah. Who are confusing. They ruled that out, Carrie, saying it's showing symptoms of hemorrhagic fever, but they've never seen it. Oh, interesting. Marburg, but different hemorrhagic fever. Oh, God. That's terrible. Right now, during all this conflict in the Congo and all this bullshit, China's so far ahead on the thinking of New World Order, America's going to be second fiddle. I mean, I think the carving will be interesting, right? They already have a huge landmass. I don't know. You know, I'm watching it unfold to a large degree, but it's very interesting. I don't know. All right, let me get another. I have more. We got stuff for you today. Hey, come back today and do the things. Okay, wait, what? To Trump or Zelensky? What do you mean? Nomads will rule because we're survivors. There you go. There you go. There you go. That's it. I think 50 have died and a few kids. Oh my goodness. You know, I remember being in Haiti, in a remote kind of mountain village, for lack of a better description, and meeting a woman as I was walking with another person back to like a village center kind of thing, and she was bringing her child to us, and the child clearly had like conjunctivitis in their eyes, you know. And she was begging, she was crying, begging for help for her child. She didn't know what was wrong with his eyes and all that. She couldn't, you know, da 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 da. And so the gentleman I was with, you know, spoke to her in Creole and you know, figured out kind of how he might be able to help. But she's in the middle of the mountains. I mean, hills, I guess very, very hilly outside Jacmel. And it was heartbreaking to me that a condition as solvable as conjunctivitis, first of all, frightened this woman to no end. And second of all, she could not get to a town. I mean, she could walk down the mountain, but it's not an easy journey at all from Jacmel, the nearest town, to her village. I don't know, you know, and it's just like, that was one of the many moments that struck me and said, God, we just take so much for granted here. We take so much for granted. It was amazing to me, the resilience of people and how they just fought so hard for their kids. And it just broke my heart. It broke my heart that, yeah, USAID is gone. And those were some of the people who were there in Haiti. And they were always there. They didn't go away. I don't know. Just, it's all very heartbreaking. It's too bad. All right, I've got more. Don't worry. Don't worry. That is what. Oh, I wanted to
Time now
a
for
little more information on this. Apparently the BBC has a Gaza I'm trying to say that correctly or somewhat close. Gaza documentary that got some controversy. Is that worth learning more about? Or am I just chasing a stupid gossipy story? I don't know. Libertarians use the infrastructure that our grandparents built. Exactly. Oren. Oh, good morning, Oren. How are you, darling? That's heartbreaking. Just think how many kids and families are now in worse conditions because USA. Yeah, exactly. And you know, the thing about it is like, you know, you go, oh, well, someone else will step in. Well, they're already there. Okay. DFID, which is the USAID equivalent in the UK, already there, already on the ground, already putting money in. The UN, already there. People, money, food, whatever. You know, like all the players are already giving money. You know, the International Justice Mission, which is the huge Christian, you know, whatever. I think it's what it's called, IJM. But anyway, they are there. They're already there. You know what I mean? So it's like we were part of a big partnership that was already doing the work, you know? They can give more, but can they give as much as we were giving and make up that gap? No. They can't make up the gap of 60% of the world's aid came through the US. Weird. I'd rather asphyxiate alone in a dark vacuum than date a MAGA. I'd rather be gay than date a MAGA. I'd rather what was this I'd rather date an alien than oh, I see. This is okay. I get it. How do we start? How did this start? How did this start? I'm in pre Mad Max mode. Val, you're the cutest. I can't even imagine you. Well, actually, you know what? I have a feeling that I know. I have a feeling that you have this whole badass side, you know? Oh my gosh, I love you guys. Science fiction. Anyway, it's all science fiction. Oh, science fiction. I get it. Oh God, I'm so dumb. Okay. Anyway, I don't know if this is worth it because it might just be stupid gossip. So I'll end it if it's like groany and cringy. Hold on.
Scoop, our weekly conversation on international media and the political and economic headwinds confronting the industry. We look at who shapes the narrative,
24.
Explore journalistic ethics, and ask the reporters difficult questions. With trust in the press at a nadir, it's a critical eye on a critical profession. Mid-February, the BBC aired a documentary following the lives of 4 young people in Gaza. It was called Gaza, How to Survive a War Zone. Here's a clip.
Right here used to be my grandfather's house. About 40 people were here, including me and my family, for a few months.
Warplanes dropped massive bombs here. We'd already been displaced 4 times when this happened.
Well, the documentary was made by Hoyo Films. The award-winning London-based production company has worked with the BBC before on a Ukraine documentary that was critically acclaimed. For this project, the producers in London remotely directed 2 cameramen over the ground in Gaza for a total of 9 months. That's because Israel does not allow foreign press into the Strip to report on the war. This project was significant for its access, but also because it gave Palestinians a voice who are so often voiceless in most of the mainstream media. However, after the documentary aired a first time, the BBC learned that one of these voices, the film's 13-year-old narrator, Abdullah, was the son of Ayman al-Yazori, a deputy agriculture minister in the territory's Hamas-run government. The BBC apologized, added clarification before the film, saying the production team had full editorial control of filming with Abdullah. Nonetheless, the fallout continued. A group of 45 prominent Jewish journalists and members of the media, including present and former BBC staff, signed a letter demanding the documentary be removed. Here's how the right-wing Talk TV reacted to the documentary.
When it comes to journalistic blunders, I am absolutely struggling to see how much worse it could be than this. I mean, this is frankly, a howler.
Oh, they said we apologise. Well, that's not good enough.
Well, I don't need to hear anymore. It turns out that one of the participants, the child narrating, his dad is a member of the Hamas whatever structure. All right, I understand. Okay, I get it. So it was really just anti-Palestinian push. I'm sorry. That's what it was. And you know what? It looks like they disclosed it after the fact, which, whatever, mea culpa. But it doesn't change the fact of what might be happening. And it's also, yeah, exactly. There's no claim that any of the documentary is untrue. It's just an uncomfortable documentary, it appears. Ah, I see. Freedom, censorship, all that kind of stuff. Jesus Christ. I had a feeling it was a boondoggle. I had this odd feeling. I think this is a boondoggle, but then I went, oh no, give it a chance. Learn more. Learn more. But no, it was a boondoggle. Bastards. Okay, I got one more. It's multiplying. All right, here we go. Do they not yet? One would think that having the son of a Hamas official in the film would become a flashpoint for critics. Did they not vet? Well, but the thing is here's my retort to that, I guess, Neil, is as long as it's disclosed that this kid is, a member of a family that is closely part of the administration, I guess. So what? His story is he might be really a good mind fucker or something. Maybe he's really good at, at fifth generation warfare. But as long as that's disclosed, then that to me as a viewer is enough information for me to weigh what he's saying and make a decision. And the thing about it is in terms of vetting, it seems to me it's okay because frankly he's representing the child of part of that community. Whether we like it or not, Hamas is part of that community and is viewed by some as the saving force and the only thing standing between them and extinction. So from that perspective, I may not agree with Hamas and tactics and terrorism and whatever, but I can understand and empathize with the fact that that is my view of Hamas, but on the ground in Palestine, in Gaza, their view and their perspective may be completely different. And so from just a standpoint of understanding context, I can give that a lot of grace. And furthermore, I almost think it's maybe disingenuous to avoid that segment of the population. You know what I mean? Like, I know this is a delicate dance, and as I so respect you, Neil, as a journalist, as someone who has carried that and understands the weight of that responsibility. And I really think that I think this is I do think this is an attempt to actually silence a perspective. And I suggest there must have been many other children they could have focused on to ensure the film was bulletproof. Yep, in media terms, to avoid the expected blowback. I understand what you're saying. I do definitely understand what you're saying. Yep. And perhaps if they had been more upfront about it, it would have lessened the blow, right? Like, but I don't know. I think it's still I don't know. There's a lot of this is the beauty of humanity, right? There's a lot of different perspectives going on here. And that's why I can be an observer in this case because I don't have, a right, frankly, to speak for any of the parties involved. But on the face of it, it looks a little bit like censorship. And that is disturbing to me. But I also I think these are
virtue of his background as a real estate.
Shush. I'm not ready for you yet. But I do understand. Yes, I agree. This is a case of targeted opposition. I just think someone erred. Anyway, different point of. Yes, absolutely, Neil. Adore it. Adore this conversation. This is the type of conversation I love because I grow after these conversations. So thank you. No, absolutely. All right, this is the last video clip I have for now. But then I have some things to read. So don't go anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. A. Starks. Trump likes. Yeah, what is the deal with that? That's the AI piece, right? And actually, I need to find there was apparently another AI piece generated to, to kind of shut that other. Oh, are you good? Bobo says hi. She's going into the office. She starts her day really early on the phone because the projects are different locations in the overseas is where they're filming. And so she's over here in production. And so her day starts really early. But then at one point she has to go into the office because all the other stuff. Anyway, that's Bobo. Peace, Bobo. Yeah. Anyway, she sends her love to everyone. We create these conditions of hate. I agree, Muskie. This comes from a lot of fear. And this whole fucking... Anyway, the whole Gaza thing. They are very long days, especially when they're filming overseas. That's almost ridiculous. And right now she happens to be working on 2 projects at once. One's going to wrap at the end of April, but then the other one is like a couple of years. So right now she's doing 2 jobs, so it's a little tougher, but anyway, whatever. She needs to just get over herself. I'm kidding. I love her so much. She's the best person in the planet. Okay, let me show you this. Yeah, she's an awesome person. She's really good at what she does, too. She's a really good movie maker. All right, here we go. Now, this is the Times Radio. And I just thought this was an interesting segment, 22 minutes. So a little bit. She is really good. She's really working hard. She's working hard, man. She really is. I know. She's getting it. She's getting it, girl. She's really connected to a great production team. And so they've been working together now for a couple years on stuff. And it's really great. I'm just really happy. She's happy. It's a good thing. She likes being busy. All right, here we go. So this is the most disturbing choices Trump has made so far, the Trump Report from Times Radio. I don't know too much about this outlet, so forgive me. But again, I wanted to give this a chance because I thought I love summaries. You know how I love a good summary. Yeah, she'll be there tomorrow, I think. I'm going to make sure she can do it because I know she's got some stuff going on. But hopefully she'll be able to come with me. The hypocrisy of the Gaza situation is very sad. It really is. And the only, the people suffering so badly right now are literally in destruction and limbo and being ethnically cleansed. So Trump is a war criminal. Period. Bibi is a war criminal. Period. King, what's his name? Mohammed bin Salman, war criminal. Or human rights criminal. I don't care. Whatever. Okay, so let's listen to this guy. Terrible lighting. I give him a 0 for his lighting because I think with great lighting, he would actually look a little less scary. But, what do I know? Okay, here we go.
A developer in New York. He knows how gangsters operate and think. And he isn't the only Western leader with that type of experience, which makes him, for Putin, a potentially quite challenging negotiating partner.
Hi, I'm Maddie Hale and welcome to the Trump Report. Today we've spoken to John Loff, who is a senior fellow who studies a lot of Russia and Ukraine. He's spoken to us about the upcoming meeting between Donald Trump and President Zelensky and what Zelensky has to ask for and cannot leave Washington without getting for the sake of Ukraine's safety. We've spoken to him about Trump's meeting yesterday with Sir Keir Starmer and if it was cordial, what's going to happen with the US and the UK. So all that today on the Trump Report. You can watch us on YouTube, the Times Radio's YouTube, or stream us as a podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. John Loff, thank you so much for your time today, for joining the Trump Report. We have had another busy week, this time particularly in Washington. So Keir Starmer met with Donald Trump for the first time yesterday after a pretty divisive few weeks. What was your takeaways for the meeting? Did you consider it pretty cordial?
Yeah, it was obviously a very cordial meeting, and I think that if you compare the treatment of Keir Starmer with that of President Macron a few days ago, I think there was quite a sharp contrast, and that was intended. And it does seem that Trump has some liking for the UK. Obviously, it was a masterstroke and a predictable one by Keir Starmer to bring the invitation from King Charles, and that obviously seems to land well always with Trump. But I think, yeah, just the tone of the press conference, it was clear that despite the fact that they come from very different places on the political spectrum, they seem somehow to have found a common language, and that's extremely important for the UK, but I think more, broadly for Europe at the moment. And it does suggest that the UK might be able to play, I don't like the term bridge, but it might be able to play this role as, some form of intermediary between the rest of Europe and the US. And at the moment, when obviously this situation in Ukraine remains critical, and when Trump is expecting Europe to do much more of the heavy lifting, this is important.
It was an interesting meeting. Again, if we do.
So I just want to stop it there, because that is a really that's another fascinating point that I didn't even consider. That the contrast between how Macron kind of pwned Trump in the meetings that they had, basically, and was a little more spicy, and Keir Starmer coming in and being a little more conciliatory, gracious, an invitation from the king, which has never happened, and really pumping Trump up. I don't understand diplomacy, and frankly, I feel like diplomacy is one of those fields where you can assume you know a lot about how to be a diplomat, and and there's a huge difference between what we think we know about how to be a diplomat to what actually goes into strategic diplomacy. To your point, yeah, the original colonizers and still colonizers, the UK, Great Britain, England, whatever the fuck, it's not, we're not giving everybody a pass for their ill behavior. That there's a reckoning to be had. I totally think that reckoning is on the horizon, and this might be the big authoritarian push that pushes that reaction over the edge. I hope. And that we do have talk about a new world order. I'll tell you what new world order should be. No, I won't. I'm just kidding. But it's very fascinating. So I just wanted to point that out. It's a very fascinating assessment and a piece of data information that I can use as I media literacy-size my way through this nonsense called life. Which feels like a really fucked up hobby right now. Anyway, here we go.
Compare it to Emmanuel Macron's meeting earlier in the week. But one thing that was quite funny that it happened twice, John, was Keir Starmer correcting Donald Trump, saying, no, we were giving money as a gift or whatever, similar to Emmanuel Macron with what he said to correcting Donald Trump in front of the press. It was kind of funny that this happened twice this week.
Yes, but I think that's an indication that Trump's approaches don't confuse me with the facts. I know what I'm talking about. I rely on my instincts here. And, he keeps, landing the same messages about, Europe's reluctance to pay for its own defense, the fact that it, in his view, has been a free rider for decades at the expense of the US taxpayer. And, of course, he has a point here. And I think nobody can deny this. And US presidents over many years were saying this behind closed doors, and he was the first one to really bring it out into the open. And you have to say, in a way, he's already galvanized the Europeans, because people realize that they really are going to have to.
So unintended consequences of a dictator in the United States means that the Europeans find their partnerships again.
Invest in defense now, because the US is no longer committed to Europe in the same way. Although I think it's important, Trump has said, and no doubt to the relief of many, that the US stands by its NATO commitment. What that means in practice, of course, is another thing.
He doesn't
if,
really mean that.
Hypothetically, a member state of NATO, other than the US,
he also said he
were
wouldn't touch
attacked,
Medicaid.
would the US really be there, and how would it be there? Would it be prepared to use military force to defend an ally? But we've never really known
in the process of
full
gutting
answer
our military
to that
of
question in the history of NATO, because fortunately we've never been tested in that way.
So.
But Trump's message, has landed about the need to invest in defence. But at the same time, people are obviously in Europe very concerned about what sort of deal he might try to do with Russia. And there was absolute dismay earlier this week when in the United Nations Security Council the US chose to, in the United Nations, that the US chose to vote with North Korea, Russia, Venezuela, and others, Belarus, and broke with its Western allies. So that is a very, I think, disturbing precedent. But it's clear that Trump is trying to curry favor at the moment with the Russians, and is prepared to go against, it seems, some of his instincts. The art of the deal says you should never be in a hurry to do a deal because you put yourself at a disadvantage. But Trump is doing exactly that with the Russians and suggesting that he wants to get this deal done as soon as possible. So in a way, I think the Russians just can't believe their luck. This is all too good to be true. And there is going to be a catch, believe me, Maddie, there is going to be a catch at some point soon when I think that their objectives, do not fully align, and then they get into, I think, the real meat of a negotiation.
I wonder, John, oh God, all we're hearing is deal, deal, deal from the Trump administration. We've got Steve Witkoff, the big dealer, going over to Turkey and to Saudi Arabia. It's all we hear from the administration is all about the art of making a deal. But I want to get back onto that, the point that you were making, Donald Trump's special envoy or his team were representing at the UN Security Council this week. And yes, they made that bold move to vote alongside Russia, alongside Belarus, North Korea, to basically not condemn Russia for the invasion of Ukraine in February 2022 and everything that's come alongside with that. So you said the word disturbing before. I want a yes or no, John. Was that moment in the UN the most disturbing thing that Donald Trump and his team have done so far?
I'm not sure about that. I think the signaling to the Russians that they were prepared even before starting negotiations to make seemingly major concessions. In other words, no NATO membership for Ukraine, no US boots on the ground in the case of a peace deal. I think those, to my mind, were, let's say, more consequential. I think the UN vote, that was just, a typical sort of Trump tactical thing, and he just doesn't care about the consequences. And I think when you start to look at how this negotiation is shaping up with Russia, and let's keep in mind, on the US side, to my mind and to my knowledge, there is nobody there with any experience of negotiating with the Russians. And the Russians are extremely skilled negotiators. Look at the two heavyweights they sent to Riyadh, the long-standing foreign minister Lavrov, the presidential foreign policy advisor, former Russian ambassador to Washington, Yuri Ushakov. I mean, these are really serious people. And it made the others, the people on the other side of the table, the US delegation, really look like a bunch of amateurs. So I don't know who else is behind this in the White House, but I think the expertise is paper thin.
Yesterday, Donald Trump.
I also want to talk about that. I'm sorry. I know I'm interrupting a lot. Okay, wait. My whole concept. Okay, so Steve Witkoff. What did Steve Witkoff do before being special envoy? I didn't take too close a look. I assumed he was an asshole, but I didn't go, oh, who's Steve Witkoff? All right, here we go. He's an American billionaire real estate investor lawyer who serves as the special envoy to the Middle East. He's the founder of the Witkoff Group, began his career as a real estate attorney, before transitioning to property investment and development. His notable acquisitions include the Daily News Building, the Woolworth Building, 33 Maiden Lane, and the Park Lane Hotel in Manhattan. Witkoff has extensive business ties to the Middle East. During the first presidency, Witkoff was a member of the Great American Economic Revival Industry Groups, which was created to combat the economic impact of COVID-19. In November 2024, then President-elect Donald Trump announced he would appoint Witkoff, blah, blah, blah. Witkoff played, okay, whatever. Let's see. Private sector career. Real estate lawyer. How do you become a billionaire? After graduating from law school in 1983, Witkoff worked for the New York City real estate law firm, blah, 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 where one of his clients was Donald Trump. 1983. They became friends at a New York City deli if they had worked together on a business deal. So he was around when Trump was recruited into the Russian mafia, basically. Interesting. What is Mr. Witkoff's relationship to the Russian Federation or the Soviet Union? Mr. Witkoff? Mr. Witkoff, can you tell us more if you have any connections to the Russian or Federation or Soviet Union, please? Wow. Okay. Well, he's got a lot of money. Money laundering, lots of deals. He's actually the deal negotiator for Trump Gaza. I'm sure. This is all okay, here we go. Sorry.
When he met with Keir Starmer and he was doing a press conference, a reporter asked him about him calling Volodymyr Zelensky a dictator before the Ukrainian president's arrival, which will happen later today on Friday. He said, "Oh, did I say that? I can't believe I said that." Next question. What was your response to one of the most scandalous things President Trump has said to this day, I would say?
Well, I was just reminded, of the old adage, don't look at what Trump says, look at what he does. And he just uses words so casually. He says things off the cuff. Trying to script his remarks must be just completely impossible. And he was clearly irritated by Zelensky's refusal initially to sign this critical minerals deal. And I think 50%. Zelensky deserves a lot of credit for standing up and saying I can't sign this agreement in the current form. And it seems the US side then amended it possibly quite substantially. But maybe Trump isn't sort of used to that type of behavior, particularly from a leader who's in a tight spot, and against whom he seems to bear some sort of grudge, because back in 2019, I think it was, that Trump wanted help from Zelensky to get dirt on Joe Biden's son, Hunter, for his dealings in Ukraine, and
there you go,
Zelensky didn't play ball. It seems that he hasn't forgotten these things. But on the other hand, President Zelensky is going to be in Washington today, and maybe they'll kind of kiss and make up. But he also referred to him, I think, as a modestly successful comedian. He made some other sort of disparaging remarks about Zelensky's leadership. But you sometimes wonder, is this a combination just of his prejudice, maybe his lack of detailed knowledge, and then also his desire to cozy up to the Russian side ahead of this negotiation because he's so keen to secure a result, and at the end of the day to receive his Nobel Peace Prize, because this does seem to be very important to him.
I know. It is. That's all we're hearing as well, is about the Nobel Peace Prize and who's going to nominate him and whether that's to get a good way to get into his good books. But John, further negotiations took place yesterday in Turkey, as I mentioned before. Putin apparently said to a news organisation that these talks were inspiring hope.
But we know
now, when you have the Russian president say that these negotiations, these talks, they're inspiring hope for the end of a war, but then you've still got him launching various drone attacks on Ukraine, what do you think that says about the state of the situation?
Well, it tells us, I think this is typical Russian behavior, that, in the run-up to the negotiation, you actually, increase the pressure on your enemy here. And it shows that you're still very serious about defending your perceived interests. You have the capacity to do that. And you're only going to stop when, you have the confidence that some breakthrough can be achieved. So you've got this combination of Trump trying to play Putin and Putin trying to play Trump. So Putin is cautiously talking up the prospect of a successful outcome to this negotiation. But my impression is that the Russians have reason to be concerned when Trump bears these gifts, because he's made these major seemingly concessions to the Russians on NATO, on US presence in possible presence to police peace agreement in Ukraine. So what's he going to want in return?
These are amazing.
What is he? I don't think he's asked for that yet. And might it be something that the Russians actually don't want to deliver? There's a lot of speculation that it might be something related to China, and that the Trump administration would like somehow to pull Russia away from its close relationship with China. That's completely impossible for the Russian side at the moment. Equally, if Trump wanted something in the Arctic, and we know that he's got his eyes on Greenland and Canada as well, for that matter, would the Russians really want to give up some of their positions in the Arctic? Because they are investing there for the long term, because they clearly see that the Arctic is a strategic resource that is probably going to be an arena for certainly competition, but probably confrontation with Western countries. So it's not clear to me that the Russians are confident that they can get a deal. I am absolutely sure that Putin would prefer, if he can, to find a way out of the war in Ukraine, because it's been dragging on for 3 years. He thought it would probably take a couple of weeks. It's costing the country dearly. He clearly has the resources to carry on for a while yet, but not indefinitely. So if he can find a way out of this that meets Russia's interests that, by the way, go well beyond Ukraine. Russia wants to try to re-engineer the European security system. And if the United States is prepared to reduce its presence or to downgrade the importance of NATO, then for him that would be a big win. But I think we're going to see very soon just how aligned the US and Russia are. And my suspicion is we will find out that their interests lie in different areas, and it's going to take a long time to build that alignment, and it may just not be possible. So no deal is also an option here.
And that is kind of what has been spoken about, John. I interviewed John Bolton yesterday, who did mention that he was quite pessimistic about the outcome of this meeting today, but Zelensky will arrive in Washington soon, where he's expected to sign a rare earth minerals contract. There's been a lot of back and forth over what they want and what the US want and what's in the interest of Ukraine. And they seem to have gotten to a place where he's willing to come to Washington and sign this deal. But from your expertise, what should Zelensky be asking for? What should he not walk away from Washington today without?
He should be asking for the US commitment to make this peace deal stick. A peace deal, if it can be achieved, will be no good for Trump if it then comes undone. And we have seen over many years since the start of the Russian intervention in Ukraine in 2014 that there were numerous ceasefires in Donbass, and they all broke down. So how can the US contribute to creating a situation where the peace agreement is durable? That has to, I think, be the top question for him. So he's looking for US commitment to, it seems to be the new fashionable word, to backstop, European countries that might police a peace agreement. But here the Russians are messaging strongly that they are resolutely opposed to any European peacekeeping force on Ukrainian territory. So
What about American peacekeeping forces?
no, I mean, American peacekeeping force is completely out of the question, and the Trump has ruled that out. That's not going to happen. It's going to be for the Europeans. But it's a question of what the US then provides to support a peacekeeping operation, and that would be intelligence assets for sure. And there's talk about American assistance in providing air cover for any force would be there on the ground. But we're so far away from that at the moment. But I think President Zelensky is he's somebody who is persuasive. I think that he has the ability to convince Trump that yes, a peace deal is possible, but it's not a proper peace deal if it then breaks down in a short period of time. So what can the US do to contribute to preserving the deal that might be negotiated?
John, just finally, because we don't have much time, but so just finally, the relationship between Europe and the US and the UK and the US has been kind of quite on the brink in the last few weeks since Donald Trump took over and he started taking over these negotiations and excluding them. But John Bolton, he said to me yesterday that Keir Starmer, when he was about to go to Washington, a piece of advice for him to deal with Donald Trump was to basically flatter him, to stroke his ego, to make him feel like he's the only guy in the world that can get these things through. Who cares what you have to say to someone to get a deal done like that, to get peace in Ukraine? I wonder, Donald Trump, he's been using the same kind of flattery on Putin. He's been calling him smart and cunning this week, saying that they have a great relationship, saying he really respects Vladimir Putin. Do you think Trump is basically taking a leaf out of his own book and acknowledges that perhaps Vladimir Putin is cut from the same cloth as him, that he needs to have his ego stroked in order to start listening to people outside of his immediate team?
Oh yeah, I mean, Trump is playing his own game here. I mean, I think, Maddie, what's very interesting about this interaction between Putin and Trump is that Trump, by virtue of his background as a real estate developer in New York, he knows how gangsters operate and think. And he isn't the only Western leader with that type of experience, which makes him, for Putin, a potentially quite challenging negotiating partner. And during Trump's first term, it was clear that Trump admired Putin, was, I think, rather overawed by him. This time round, I suspect that the dynamic will be a little bit different, simply because Trump is the man who came back from political death.
Okay, all right. Hugging you, girl. That's my comedy partner. One of these days, we're gonna do a bit across the world, from across the room, from way across the room, so we're not in each other's space. Yeah, totally. Yeah, we totally get the alone time. All right. That's what makes us so awesome, is that we can do it all. We can be alone and we can be in community. Oh, I love you guys. So this is fascinating to me. I'm sorry. It's just really fascinating to me that this is where we find ourselves. And what's interesting is obviously they're speaking about this from the perspective of Europe, which is, again, to me, it's not that, because when I listen to what this gentleman's saying about Trump, my mind immediately goes to, hey, dude, read Craig Unger. He talks about how in the 80s, Trump was compromised and got in with the Russian mob. And that was helped, by the way, by Rudy Giuliani going after the Italian mobs, right? That made more room for, guess who? The Russian mobs. Anyways, I digress. So there's a lot of context, I think, that is missing from these types of analyses. But that's also helpful information because I can context that with, this is the surface reporting kind of, like surface reporting of Trump as the main protagonist, when in fact the protagonists are really the people around him, right? So there's clearly like the Teals of the world and the Elmos who want access to rare earth minerals with no regulation, with no, basically to take them. Because remember what he always said about Iraq or whatever? We should have taken the oil. So that's clearly a concept that is in mind of just taking the stuff, right? Which is very interesting. So I think that there's a lot of context that I feel is what makes this story so complicated. And that's, I think, to some degree by design, right? The more convoluted it is, the better it is. The more effective it is to mindfuck people. The other piece to this, too, is that domestically, when you look at Trump, he is really not the protagonist even in his own story to some degree, because it's the administration around him that are really, keyword is taking. It's the administration around him that are doing the things, writing the things, telling him what to say, giving him the mind worms that he can repeat over and over, giving him the loop, downloading the loop, right? That's the Stephen Millers. That's the, I don't know what Susie Wiles is up to. I mean, I think she has some Russian interaction in her background. I don't know the story as well, so I can't really speak to it. Russ Vogt. What the fuck, man? That's the guys signing the checks, or not, as the case may be. Elon and his other bros. What Teal's doing right now, I have no idea, but I'm very curious if anyone's heard. I should probably just search on Rumble and see what the latest Teal soundbite is about this, because he's been very quiet in my mind, but maybe I'm wrong. But I feel like we haven't heard a tremendous amount from him. Again, I could be. I'm going to shut up until I find out. Oh, Oren, I know. I love you so much. Oh, your son's going to... J Herb. We love J Herb. He's the best. Yeah, the farmer's market, which can also be overwhelming too, but I just want you to know, like, as much as you can, breathe deeply and just enjoy so much, enjoy the atmosphere as much as you can. I'm uncomfortable with too much by design. Yeah, I understand that. I can't remember what I just said was by design, but I'll accept that pushback. I'll accept that. I hope Zelensky gets an awesome deal too. I do. I don't think he will, but I certainly hope he does. But yeah. No, I understand. The by design is really hard to buy, because I just also don't believe that people put that much effort into coordinating future actions. But I mean, on some level. But that's the part for me that's a little hard with these types of analyses, is that it kind of lacks the context of what's happening domestically with all of the actual like execution of the damage, right? Pam Bondi is going after FBI agents in New York. That poor, I mean, not that I feel sorry for FBI agents, because I don't, but that poor office has been just like a fucking railroad of corruption. Charles McGonigal, the one who took money from Deripaska and then, got off with a pretty fucking easy sentence, if you ask me. Yeah, it's a good, that's a very good point. Oomph says it depicts them as too powerful and unified and intentional and competent. And I agree with that. Oh, no, I've got some stuff to read, Karen, so I'm going to be around a little bit longer. I just have a few things. When powerful assholes abusing for self-interest is sufficient. There you go. Okay, there you go. I like that. I guess sometimes when I say by design, what I mean is that they want it to break. You know what I mean? That the outcome for them may not be what the fact that something is broken is really the outcome they desired. That not they, but like Elmo. Elmo desires to break all the agencies that have been investigating his projects. That's his personal vendetta. But yeah, no, a point taken, and very much yes. Your point is so well taken. Really, I'm hearing that. Yes, peace, love. Snow on top of ice is dangerous. Please, that is the worst. It is dangerous for our continued thinking. Okay, all right. Jeez. I'm just kidding. All right. I don't want to be responsible for dangerous thinking. Damn it. Sorry. Just kidding. I just realized it's Friday, and I think I said happy Thursday when I came in this morning. Maybe it was Thursday when you came in. No, it wasn't. I was late. I slept in this morning. I woke up at 6:30, and I was like, oh, shit. I'm supposed to be starting right now. Actually, it was 6:27. But anyway, the point is, it's a poo drop. Well, I don't want to be dangerous. God damn it. All right. Sorry. Okay. Here we go. I'm sorry. These things are hitting like a motherfucker. Can I just tell you that right now? I am so happy right now. Anyway. Oh, and we have movies tonight, and I think I might start it early. I think what I'm going to start, sort of a general affliction these days. What do you mean? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Oh, everybody's doing it? That makes sense. No, it's not gummies. No gummies. No. I know gummies are the way in the light. I would probably be. I just feel like gummies don't do anything to me, but maybe they do, and I just don't realize it because I'm so high. Trump spoke to Putin just a couple of days ago. I know he's all about the pooty. Pooty poo. Yeah, he's all about it. No, this is, and that's why again I appreciate the analysis of folks with different perspectives. Like this is definitely a European perspective, which I appreciate. It's a very important one in this game. But I also just find it so interesting that it does lack context, about, well, what do we know? What do we actually know about, they're going to start live at 1 p.m. So what is that? In half an hour, they're going to do a press conference. So I think we're going to do this. We're going to read some stuff until that press conference. You still smoke as much? Oh, well, that makes sense. I like chocolate THC. Really? Oh, the fat in it helps it activate. Oh, that makes good sense. Just encouraging to notice the thought-stopping, fatalistic expressions of catastrophe. Thank you. I agree, because thinking is the way. Thinking. I'm thinking about. Carla, I tagged you in Discord Disco. Boop, boop. Boop, boop, boop. Come to the Discord. We're having movies tonight. Oh, we're going to start with The Conversation, which is Gene Hackman, rest in peace, movie. Oh yeah, I agree. No, but I take it. I take it because I hear myself doing it. So I appreciate that feedback very much. So I think it's good. I think it's great feedback. I agree. Because you know what? Wait, let's go to it. Let's do it. What are we doing here?
Shut up, Lolo.
Never forget. Never stop. Never stopping. I am heartbroken. Gene Hackman was such an amazing actor. So we're going to start with The Conversation, which I agree with some of the loungers that is the best Gene Hackman film. Although I love his Lex Luthor. I'm sorry. I love it. Oh, and Birdcage. That's right. Oh, I forgot he was in that. But we're going to start with that. And then Max, as you know, is the curator of the best B films in the history of the histories. So she gave she has given a number of suggestions. So I'm going to choose from amongst those selections. Surprise, 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 surprise. And so I'll pick one of those great selections, and that'll be our second feature. But we are going to start at 5:30 because we don't want to totally overstep our beautiful friends at the 5-8, who I love so much. I love you, Greg Oliar. I love you, Lincoln's Bible Stephanie. I love you. I love you. Chunk, I love you. I love you. I think you're very talented. I think you're all very talented. Anyway, so I'm kind of stepping on their show a little bit, but hopefully you can join us. It's conversation's a little bit of a longer movie, so. But yeah, and the circumstances of their deaths are sketchy. You know what? I'm going to tell you the conjecture on Bobo's part, which I thought was an interesting one, is carbon monoxide. I don't know. I mean, I understand there's all, really great investigations happening, and that's important. But that was an interesting conjecture that I thought made a lot of sense. But I don't know anything. And neither of us are interested in trying to prognosticate. Oh, you think it was ruled out? Okay. See, I haven't been keeping up because I'm not. No, I didn't know he was on Nixon's hit list. Why? Oh, that's the wrong screen. Why was he on Nixon's hit list? That doesn't make any sense. Weird. All right. These are some things that I had curated. And this one pissed me the fuck off, as you can see by my comment. Bullshit. Wait, is that going to work better? Oops. Let's get that down. So this pissed me the fuck off yesterday. I was so mad. Just in. This is Kyle Cheney posting last night around dinner time here last night. So about 9 p.m. I love the vintage SF locations in the conversation. I know. It's a beautiful film. It's one of the most it was one of my favorite films. It's such a beautiful film. It's really intense. Okay. So just in response, well, wait, let me make this bigger. God dang it. I'm so sorry. I'm really bad at this. I know what to do. I think. There we go. Now I can. One of these days it's going to be smooth as a seal's butt. All right, just in response to a FOIA request from Crew, citizens. Damn it. Ethics in Washington. Citizens for the for ethics in Washington. Great lawyers have argued the 14th Amendment, Section 3 in Colorado, in many places, election cases. We love Crew. So in a FOIA request from Crew, the response, the Trump administration indicates that its decision to relocate Doggy into the White House makes it not subject to FOIA. What now? And I said, bullshit. Oh, Jason Leopold, brother. I love all our friends. Okay. Yeah. And so this says Crew states in the USDS request that a help desk attendant at OMB, Russ vote, directed it to submit to the USDS request through OMB. That procedure was not correct. After January 2025, USDS moved out of OMB and became a freestanding component of the Executive Office of the President, EOP. I'm not sure if that's what that stands for. I'm making that up. That reports to the White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles. Executive Order 14-158. January 29th. As a result, USDS is not subject to FOIA. As the February 25th letter to Crew explains, OMB's FOIA requester service does not recall agreeing to accept FOIA requests. What does that say? Stop. Get out of there. Specifically, I guess, on behalf of Doggy. And it is possible that the service misinterpreted Crew's request to refer to legacy U.S. digital service records. belonging to OMB. OMB regrets the misunderstanding. I'm sure. Bullshit. Okay. Let's see. This one. Oh, this was another interesting one, which I hadn't read yet. My dad took me to the theater to watch The Conversation when I was a teen. He loved Hackman. I'm going to tell you, Hackman was a master actor. I don't care what anybody says. The CFPB, the Consumer Fraud Protection Bureau, Financial Protection Bureaus, drops its lawsuit against Capital One. Do they even exist anymore? Marking a major reversal. Uh-oh, this is a little small. It's a little teeny small. All right, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Thursday, dropped 5 major legal cases it had underway, including a big lawsuit against Capital One, marking a major reversal for an agency that had pursued aggressive action against financial institutions accused of wrongdoing during the Biden administration. This makes me so mad. There is so much corruption happening right now. Oh, right now? Oh, shit. Okay, sorry. Thank you so much. Shit. Hold on. Hold on.
You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
Hey, I will respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now the President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014 and 2014.
2014?
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
that's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him. A lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire, all of them told me that he will never go. We signed with him with gas contract, yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people, and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy? What JD you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean. and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
that.
You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly
this.
what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've
Oh,
allowed
he's gonna
yourself to be in a very bad position, and he's happy to be right about
From
it.
the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good
Mr.
position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. Yeah, you're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III.
Oh my God!
And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's
with
back
all
to
respect to
you.
your
Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once this
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank you?
Oh my God.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
This is the
Please.
worst thing
You
I've
think
ever
that
seen.
If you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can.
not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's
Can I-
in big
can-
trouble.
can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this.
I.
You have a damn
We-
good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
allowed.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
allowed.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said thank
stupid
you.
president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
You invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell you.
Just say thank you.
I said a lot of
except
times
that
thank
there,
you
except
to
that,
American people.
except that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I
over
understand,
there.
sir.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running low
I
on
know.
soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't, please,
you're running
Mr.
low
This is
on
gonna
soldiers.
backfire.
It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I wanted this. Look. If you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
Doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what-
That
what
wasn't
this
with me.
means. It
That was
wasn't
with
with you.
a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person.
But this
That
is
was
your-
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
Wow.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry, here.
It's going to be a tough deal to make,
Um,
because the attitudes have to change.
what if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you
but
saying?
what if
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam.
This has
And
to
he had to go
backfire.
through that.
I'm sorry,
And
but
he
there
did
has to be
go
a
through
way.
it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was
There has
accused
to
of all
be-
that stuff. He had nothing
This
to
has to
do
be
with it. It came out of
headlines,
Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia, the 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam, and he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff.
This will backfire.
All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty.
He's not going to make the deal they wanted.
You'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards.
That's why this is happening.
But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that. All right. We'll see what we can do about putting it together.
Guys, let's go. Guys, come on, let's go.
We'll see. I don't know.
All right, guys, come on. Wait, hey, come on.
He's looking at he's fucking rattled.
Guys, come on.
He's fucking rattled. Fuck yeah. Zelensky, you won. I don't care what anybody fucking says. Zelensky wins. Fuck you. He showed you for the tyrant that you are. He showed you for the tyrant that
in the
you
Oval
are.
Office
We can
on
fight
this
him,
Friday,
Val.
February 28th. How many times do you want to replay that, Robert?
Fuck you. Fuck you, simp. Fucking guy. You're the only one that had audio that was worth any shit. Oh my God. I don't even know what just happened. What the fuck just happened? This is the AP. Okay. Well, hi everybody. Welcome to the show. Okay. Well, that was interesting. His base is cheering right now. Yes, I understand that, Val. Listen. If anybody understands what the base reaction to this is going to be, it's me. I think. Well, a lot of people. But me, I definitely understand it. I know that they're going, yeah, fuck yeah, that's right. Grab his balls. Yeah, grab him by the balls. Is the play over, I guess?
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to have President Zelensky of
Let's watch
Ukraine.
this.
And we've been working very hard, very close. So we've actually known each other for a long time. We've been dealing with each other for a long time and very well. We had a little negotiation spat, but that worked out great. I think for both countries, I think for the world, actually, beyond both countries. And we have something that is a very fair deal. And we look forward to getting in and digging and working and getting some of the rare earth. But it means we're going to be inside, and it's a big commitment from the United States, and we appreciate working with you very much. And we will continue to do that. We have had some very good discussions with Russia. I spoke with President Putin, and we're going to try and bring this to a close. It's something that you want and that he wants. We have to negotiate a deal, but we've started the confines of a deal, and I think something can happen. The big thing is the number of soldiers, mostly at this point, but soldiers being killed. You're losing thousands of soldiers. So on both sides, we're losing a lot of soldiers, and we want to see it stop. And we want to see the money get put to different kinds of use, like rebuilding. And we're going to be working very hard. But we've had a lot of very good conversations. I will say until we came along, the Biden administration didn't speak to Russia whatsoever. They didn't speak to anybody. They just allowed this to continue. And I will say that, I'll say in front of you, you've heard me say it 1,000 times, if I were president, this war would have never happened. We would have had a deal negotiated for you without having to go through what you've gone through. But your soldiers have been unbelievably brave. We've given them great equipment, but somebody has to use the equipment. They've been unbelievably brave, and we give them great credit. This was supposed to be over very quickly, and here we are 3 years later. So I give tremendous credit to your generals and your soldiers and yourself in the sense that it's been very hard fighting, very tough fighting. They're great fighters. And you have to be very proud of them from that standpoint. But now we want to get it over with. It's enough, right? We want to get it over with. So it's an honor to have you here. Thank you very much for coming. We're going to sign the agreement at the conference in the East Room in a little while, right after lunch. And we'll be having lunch together. We're also discussing some other things, and we appreciate everybody being here.
It's reached a deal.
Somewhat of an exciting moment, but the really exciting moment is when we when they stop the shooting and we end up with a deal. And I think we're fairly close to getting that. And an honor to have you. And please, I'd like to say something.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you for invitation, and really I hope that this. First document will be first step to real security guarantees for Ukraine, our people, our children. I really count on it. And of course, we count that America will not stop support. Really, for us, it's very important to support and to continue it. I want to discuss it with details further during our conversation, and of course, the infrastructure or security guarantees.
He didn't agree to anything, is what I just heard.
Because for today, I understand what Europe is ready to do. And of course, I want to discuss with you what the United States will be ready to do. And I really count on your strong position to stop Putin. And you said that enough with the war. I think that is very important, Ben, to say these words to Putin at the very beginning. At the very beginning of war, because he is a killer and terrorist. But I hope that together we can stop him. But for us, it's very important to to save our country, our values, our freedom and democracy, and of course, no compromises with the killer about our territories, but it will be later. And of course, what I wanted, we spoke about it by phone with you, about the drones production. We have very good drones production. I think the best one in the world for today because of the war. Yes, and of course, we need very much the air defense. You have the best air defense in the world, and really you helped us under attacks of Russians. And I want to speak how we can exchange the licenses. We're open to share the licenses of all our drones with you, of course, with the United States. And we need licenses for quick production of air defense. Even after the war, we need our nation to be calm, that we are secure. So that's why we need this air shield. And of course, about this, I want to speak about the contingents. I think that France and UK already spoke to you, and we know that Europe is ready, but without the United States, they will not be ready to be as strong as we need.
Yes, Val.
And the last point, last not least, about exchange, about our people and children. And you know that these crazy Russians, that they stolen 20,000 of children, Ukrainian children. They changed their names. They changed their families, relatives, and now they're in Russia. We want to bring them back, and really, it's a big, big dream, task, and goal for me, and our warriors. By the way, Mr. President, we released more than 4,000 warriors from Russian prison, but there are thousands more in the prison. I wanted to share with you some images, how
see, the context matters. This entire piece is what matters, not just the meltdown. Val is correct. He states his requirements, which are not in the agreement. Thank you, Val. Beautiful.
In what situation they are, and what the attitude of Russia to our prisoners. That, guys, just you before and after. And you see before and after, just you to understand. Now thousands of such guys, ladies and men, there, and that, so they don't eat, they beat them, and they do a lot of bad things. So out of, even during the war, there are rules. Everybody knows there are rules during the war. These guys They don't have any rules. You see that 50, 60 kilograms left, and a lot of such things. And I didn't want to show you
And stating his
what the
requirements
changes with
publicly
images of
is
children,
brilliant.
because I will just share with you. And I mean, it's looking tragic.
Yep, that's tough stuff.
Yeah, I wanted very much to give you, and you see it.
Yeah.
This is pastor, by the way. They stolen pastors because it's not Russian church. They stolen pastors and moved pastors to the prison. We, at the end of last year, we brought 3 pastors, and we could exchange them. And this is pastor, you see.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, so I mean, this I wanted to show you, and this. So thank you very much.
We want to get that ended, right?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, I guess he did say thank you.
I think we will. And
we have to, of course.
Do you have any questions, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. With the, how much money is the U.S. going to put into the fund that is being created today, and how does this provide long-term security for Ukraine?
Well, we don't know exactly how much, because we're going to be putting some money in a fund that we're going to get from the raw earth that we're going to be taking and sharing in terms of revenue. So it's going to be a lot of money will be made from the sale and from the use of raw earth. And as you know, our country doesn't have much raw earth. We have a lot of oil and gas, but we don't have a lot of the raw earth. And what we do have is protected by the environmentalists, but that can be unprotected, but still it's not very much. They have among the best in the world in terms of raw earth. So we're going to be using that, using it for all of the things we do, including AI and including weapons and the military, and it's really going to very much satisfy our needs. So it's something that just worked out really well. We have a lot of oil, and we have a lot of gas, we have a lot, but we don't have raw earth. So this has just about every component of the raw earth that we need for computers, for all of the things we do. This puts us in great shape.
And long-term security for Ukraine. How does this provide?
I think they're going to have great luck. I think once we make the agreement, that's going to be 95% of it. They're not going to go back to fighting. I've spoken with President Putin, and I feel very strong. I've known him for a long time, and I feel very strongly that they're very serious about it. And we'll make a deal. And when the deal is made, I don't think we talk about security. Everyone's talking about the other day. All they talked about was security. I said, let me make the deal first. I have to make the deal first. I don't worry about security right now. We have to have a deal, because right now, last week, 2,000 soldiers died on both sides. 2,000, and they're losing 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a week. So as we sit here and we talk, people are getting shot and dying on the battlefield. And, you know, they're not American soldiers, but they're Russian soldiers and they're Ukrainian soldiers, and we want to be able to stop it. And we want to be able also to spend money on other things. We don't want to. This is a tremendous amount of money, and what the Biden administration did was terrible. They were giving money, but he had no security on the money. Europe, as you know, gave much less money, but they had security. It was in the form of a loan. They get their money back, and we didn't. And now, at least we're protected, because the American taxpayer has to be protected too. But this is an incredible agreement for Ukraine, because we have a big investment in their country now, and what they have, very few people have. And we're able to really go forward with very, very high-tech things and many other things, including weaponry that we're going to use in many locations, but that we need for our country.
Mr. President,
this allows us to do this.
I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead,
Vance is just as bad as them.
Yes. In the document, there is one of the very important points if we speak about business and investment. We never had LNG terminals in Ukraine. This document will open. I mean, the next documents, but anyway, here we see in the framework, we see a really good will for this. LNG terminals for us is very important, and I think for security of European continent. We have the biggest storage, gas storage. We have the biggest in Europe. Yes, and we can use it for LNG, use it for LNG, and we will do it. And really, we can help Europe, because Europe really helped President Trump said that they made less support, but they are our friends and they are our very supportive partners. They really gave a lot, Mr. President. They did.
They gave a lot, but they gave much less.
No.
Much
They
less.
didn't.
No.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. President Trump, you have repeatedly called the deal with Ukraine as a historical one. And as a President of the United States, you make historical decisions in other issues which affect America and other world. So what place in the world history do you want to take? And do you associate yourself with any famous historical figures?
Yeah, I'd say George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. I would say I'm far superior to George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. Now, you know I'm only kidding, right? Because when I say that, the fake news is going to go wild. They're going to say he considers himself to be better than Washington. But you never know. You never know. I don't compare myself to anybody. I'm here to do a job. We've had a great 35 days or whatever it might be, a month, a little more than a month. We've accomplished tremendous amounts. Not only this would be a very great achievement if we could get the war stopped and get them back to normalization. I think that's going to happen. We've had very good talks on both sides, as you know. But I think we've done a very good job, just generally. If you look at all of the things we've done in 30 days, they're saying there's never been a opening for a president. The first month, there's never been a first month like we've had. And this is one of the very important things. This, to me, is one of the most important things because we have tremendous death taking place as we speak, and I don't want to have that. You know, think of the parents, whether they're in Russia or Ukraine, think of the parents of all these people being killed needlessly.
They came to our territory.
Should have never started. This would have, if I were president, this would have never started.
Mr. President, where has out your conviction? Mr. President, will you continue sending military aid to Ukraine after the U.S. signs this agreement with Ukraine?
Yeah, we're going to be continuing.
To President Zelensky, do you feel like the U.S. is on your side? That President Trump is on your side at this moment?
Right.
What do you think?
He wants to know, do you think that, sort of a stupid question. I guess we wouldn't be here if I wasn't.
I think that the United States on our side from the very beginning of occupation, and I think that President Trump on our side, and of course, I'm sure that the United States President will not stop support. This is crucial for us. It's important for us. Yes. And Putin, the president, speaks about the people and the soldiers which are dying, but they came to our territory, they came to our land. They began this war, and they have to stop. And I think this is the question, with really the most important question. Can President Trump, I hope yes, with some other allies, to stop Putin, withdraw these enemies, our enemy, withdraw these troops from our land? And I think that you asked about the history, I think that if President, or when, he will stop Putin, if President Trump will bring peace to our country, I think he will be on this wall, I think.
We've had very, very good talks.
What about military aid to Ukraine?
President Zelensky just said that there would be no compromises with Vladimir Putin. I just wanted to ask both of you, firstly, are there compromises that you think that President Zelensky is going to have to make? And President Zelensky, is there anything that you may be able to offer or bring to the table, for example, elections? Thank you.
I think you're going to have to always make compromises. You can't do any deals without compromises. So certainly he's going to have to make some compromises, but hopefully they won't be as big as some people think you're going to have to make. That's all. That's all we can do. I'm here as an arbitrator, as a mediator to a certain extent between two parties that have been very hostile. To put it mildly, they've been very hostile. There's been a vicious war. There's been a vicious war. You know, it's a very level battlefield, and those bullets go out, and as I've said many times, we were talking about it with Pete, many times the only thing stopping those bullets is a human body. And in the case we're talking about, generally young human bodies are stopping a lot of bullets. It's dead level. That's why it's great farmland. It's great land. It's great farmland, but there's very little protection against the bullets that are being, and other things that are being shot. So all I can do is see if I can get everybody at the table and get an agreement. And I think we're going to end up with an agreement. Otherwise, I wouldn't probably be even here today.
Mr. President, I've got two questions for you. You think ultimately your legacy will be the peacemaker and not the president that led this country into another war and ended foreign wars? And then I've got a question.
I hope it will. I mean, I hope I'm going to be remembered as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing if we could do this. I'm doing this to save lives more than anything else. Second is to save a lot of money, but I consider that to be far less important. So I hope I'm going to, thank you, Brian, for that question. It was a nice question. I hope I'll be known and recognized as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing to solve. This is a very dangerous situation. You know, this could lead to a third world war. This was headed in the wrong direction. If this election were lost, if we didn't win this election, and we won it by a lot, that was a mandate. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote by millions and millions of votes. We won everything. The districts, you look at the areas of red, take a look at a map. This was a big mandate, and this was one of the things I said, we're going to get this thing settled. If we didn't win, I think this could have very well ended up in a third world war, and that would not have been a good situation. What was your second question?
And my second question for President Zelensky, why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest, why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit.
Oh
Just
my
want to see
God,
you
Brian
own a
Glenn
suit?
is a Nazi.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I know Brian.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not
Really?
respecting
I
the
don't have
dignity of this
such-
office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe one.
Maybe something like this?
something like
Yes,
yours.
sir.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Maybe something better. I don't know. We will see. Maybe something cheaper than. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my God, I hate this country.
I'm going to send more arms to Ukraine in case there's no peace.
Yeah, we're going to have arms to Ukraine, yeah, sure. Hopefully I won't have to send very much, because hopefully we're going to have it finished. We're looking forward to finishing this quickly. We're not looking forward to sending a lot of arms. We're looking forward to getting the war finished so we can
if there's anything,
do other things.
Yeah, we love
But,
Jane's mom.
we very much appreciate the agreement, because we needed what they had, and we're treating, our country is now treated fairly. Biden didn't do that. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. This should have never happened. This should have never started. But, sure, the answer is yes, but hopefully we won't have to send much, because I'm looking forward to getting it done quickly, very quickly.
Does that mean you'll provide security guarantees, Mr. President?
I don't want to talk about security yet, because I want to get the deal done. You fall into the same trap like everybody else. A million times you say it over and over. I want to get the deal done. Security is so easy. That's about 2% of the problem. I'm not worried about security. I'm worried about getting the deal done. The security is the easy part. Security is very nice. Everybody stops shooting. And now will Europe put people there? I know France is going to. I know the UK is going to. I know other countries are going to, and they happen to be right next door. We haven't committed, but we could conceivably. We have security in a different form. We'll have workers there digging, taking the raw earth so that we can create a lot of great product in this country. So in that sense, you have something, but we haven't determined that yet. I will say, in speaking to France and in speaking to, and they were here, as you know, last week and just the other day, they have committed to a lot of security. I don't think you're going to need much security. I think once this deal gets done, it's over. Russia's not going to want to go back, and nobody's going to want to go back. When this deal ends, I really believe this deal is going to be over. Please go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. President, thank you. You had Macron and Keir Starmer at the White House this past week, both of whom praised your courage and conviction to lead the pathway towards peace.
Yes.
Part of that involved, though, re-engaging Russia in diplomatic relations, something that previous leaders lacked the conviction to do so. What gave you the moral courage and conviction to step forward and lead that?
Well, I love this guy. Who are you with?
One American News, sir.
Well, that's
One
why I
American
like
News.
him. One American News does a great job. That's very. I like the
Russia.
question. I think it's a very good
Oh my
question.
God.
It is. It's a pathway to peace. It's
my
a
God.
pathway to getting something solved.
At least it
And
exposes
I feel
it
that
for
as
what
the head
it
of this
is,
country,
y'all.
I have an
I
obligation
understand.
to do that. Plus,
exposes
we're
it.
very much
Come
involved.
on.
We got involved. It's too bad we got involved because there should have been no involvement because there should have been no war. And there shouldn't have been October 7th. That would have never happened. As you know, Iran was broke. They had no money to
just
give
says
to
what isn't
Hezbollah. They had
looping,
no money
guys.
to give to Hamas. They
he
were
pu- he
stone
pushes
cold broke.
loop, and it
then
does
under
it.
Biden, they became rich as hell. They went from no money to $300 billion in a period of 4 years. And they gave a lot of that money away, and you see what happened. And that's a real mess also that we hope to be able to solve. But no, I appreciate your question very much. I feel I have an obligation to try and
This is just
do something to stop the death.
If I can answer, yes, if I can answer,
Please,
sorry,
go ahead.
please, please.
Yeah, that's-
And I do
that's
like
a
your
DeVos.
clothing, by the way.
Yeah, really?
Even though I have to, I think he's a
Yeah?
great guy, by the way. But I don't know if you two like each other, but you know what? I think
No,
he's
no,
dressed, I think he's
why?
dressed
I like
beautifully.
this guy. I don't know
I think
him.
he's dressed beautifully.
So I have more serious things than answer on such
Yeah,
question.
sure, that's
I will
okay.
answer on more serious
That's a good
question if I
statement.
can.
That's good.
Yeah. So please, about security guarantees and about just ceasefire. We can't just speak about ceasefire and speak and speak. It will not work. Just ceasefire will not never work because I'm like a president. I have this experience, and not only me. Ukraine before my presidency, from the 2014, Putin broken 25 times. 25 times he broken his own signature. 25 times he broken ceasefire.
But he never broke to me. He never broke
No,
to
no,
me.
you were the president.
He
You were
never
the
broke-
president
he
during.
never broke to me.
In 2016, you've been the president, Mr. President. You've been the president, but he had, of course, not with you, but he had during those period, he had conversations with our side. And we had Normandy format, you know, the France, Germany, Ukraine, and Russia. And he broken 25 times. That's why we will never accept just ceasefire. It will not work without security guarantees. Security guarantees, maybe President is right about this document and other, but this document is not enough. Strong army is enough because his soldiers afraid, Putin's soldiers afraid of our soldiers when we're strong enough. If we are not strong enough, if we are empty, if our storage is empty, we can't defend our land. Today, you know, he knows that we have all the world knows that we have meeting. Yes, why he's using ballistic? Putin today using ballistic on our hospitals, schools, and etc. Ballistic. So he knows that we are here and that President Trump is really have goodwill to stop this war. And you hear now the president. So why he's using? So he doesn't want to stop. He doesn't want. But I hope that we will do it. Really, we'll do it. Security, when we speak about security guarantees, when the Europeans are ready for contingents, they need USA backstop. If there will not be United States, we will not never have any contingents, strong contingents from the Europeans, because they don't want to divide alliance, connection between the United States and the main and strongest ally and Europeans. And this is crucial, this is important. That's what we want to speak about very much. This is very important. And air defense. So air defense, really, we have big deficit with all these systems, and we need to provide this. We need it very much. Otherwise, Putin will never stop, and will go further and further. He doesn't want. He hates us. You know, it's not about me. He hates Ukrainians. He thinks that we are not a nation. He thinks, and he shared these thoughts. I think maybe with your team also. I don't know, but with all the Europeans, in media, officially and not, he always said that there is no such country, such nation, such language, and such life like Ukrainian. No, he really doesn't respect all the Ukrainians, and he wants to destroy us. And you are right, Mr. President, that's 2%. This document, maybe other documents, it's a very good start, very good, but it will not enough to stop this person.
Should Russia pay to rebuild Ukraine?
Mr. President, under these
Should Russia pay to rebuild Ukraine?
They have to pay.
This question.
This is the rule. This is rule of the war. This is the rule of the war. During all the centuries, all the history, this is the rule of the war. Who began, those pay.
Do you agree,
This is the rule. Putin began this war. He has to pay all money for innovation. He has to pay. Of course, some Russian assets, what we have in Europe, about 300 billion, we can use them. We can use for innovation and buy military support from the United States also. We can do it, but it's not enough. It's not enough.
Under these circumstances, do you envision a trilateral summit with Putin and President Zelensky?
Wait 1 second.
I asked this question that you didn't like because I wanted to know if you want to position yourself in the middle between Russia and Ukraine or on the Ukraine side.
No, I'm in the middle. I want to solve this thing. I'm for both. I want to get it solved. And it's wonderful to speak badly about somebody else, but I want to get it solved. If we can solve it, great. If we can't solve it, they're going to have to fight it out, and who knows what's going to happen. But I want to see it get solved.
May I follow up? One more question about U.S. troops in Europe. After Russian invasion of Ukraine, your predecessor sent additional troops to Eastern Europe, including Poland, my country.
Yeah.
Are you committed to keeping these troops on the eastern flank of NATO in the future?
I'm very committed to Poland. I think Poland has really stepped up and done a great job for NATO. They, as you know, they paid more than they had to. They are one of the finest groups of people I've ever known. I'm very committed to Poland.
What about Baltics?
Poland's in a tough neighborhood, you know.
What about the Baltics?
The Baltics, they got a lot of, it's a tough neighborhood too. But we're committed. We're going to be very committed, and we're committed to NATO. But NATO has to step up, and the Europeans have to step up more than they have. And I want to see them equalize, because they are in for far less than we're in, and they should be at least equal. You understand that? Why is the United States, we have an ocean in between, why is the United States in for so much more money and other things as Europe?
Kind of
With
moments
that
like
being
this,
said, as you said,
I don't know.
they've also been obviously very helpful. But we have put in far more than they have, and I think they should equalize.
Mr. President,
Please, go ahead.
That should be the question. Name the
What
Baltics.
changed between the first time that Secretary Bessent gave President Zelensky the agreement and today for the signing?
We made a deal. So
What was the
I'm just,
deciding factor?
I'm a business person. We made a deal. That's what changed.
Minerals.
I didn't think we were going to make a deal, and we ended up making the deal, so that changed.
Mr. President, what and how do you envision a trilateral summit with President Zelensky and Putin?
I don't know,
under
but
these
well, they
circumstances?
don't like each other. I can tell you that. Okay? They do not like each other. This is not a love match, and it's unfortunate. That's why you're in this situation. The United States should not have allowed this to happen. Okay? The United States, run by a man that didn't know much. I'm going to be very nice. Run by an incompetent person, very incompetent person, should never have allowed this to happen. I've stopped wars. I've stopped many wars. My people will tell you, I stopped wars that nobody ever heard about. I stopped wars before they ever started. You can look at some of, I could give you a lot of nations that would tell you right now they were probably going to war. I could tell you right now there's a nation thinking about going to war on something that nobody in this room has ever even heard about. Two smaller nations, but big, still big. And I think I've stopped it.
Wait, what?
But this should have never happened.
Mr. President.
About sorry, just a second. About any negotiations. First of all, I want really to tell you, and I think that everybody understands that Ukraine, more than Ukrainians, nobody wants to stop this war. But at the future, any negotiations, it's understandable that two sides of the war not Russia and the United States, because this is not the war between Russia and the United States. This is war of Russia against Ukraine and Ukrainian people. So these two sides will be at the anyway will be at the negotiation table. Then of course United States, like the strongest partner of the Ukraine, and of course Europe. I think Europe is very important. I want to speak about it with the president. Yes, Europe is very important for us because we really defend Europe for today. All Europeans really recognize that we are defending the line, and they have real life, and our people are dying. That's why they helped us. And also, it's about the NATO. Yes, between, like the president said, you have big, nice ocean. Yes, between us. But if we will not stay, Russia will go further to Baltics and to Poland, by the way. But first to the Baltics. It's understandable for them because they've been in the USSR. You know, they've been one of the republics of the USSR, and Putin wants to bring them back to his empire. It's a fact. And when he will go there, if we will not stay, you will fight. Your American soldiers, it doesn't matter, do you have ocean or not, your soldiers will fight.
Mr. President, would you be willing to visit Ukraine, maybe Kyiv or Odessa, which is known to be at the Riviera or Black Sea?
It was my question.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to talk about Odessa now. Let's not talk about Odessa. I want to talk about making a deal, getting peace. We don't have to talk about Odessa, but a lot of cities have been destroyed. A lot of cities that are not recognizable. There's not a building standing.
No,
and a lot of things.
Mr. President, you have to come and to look. No. We have very good cities. Yes, a lot of things have been destroyed, but mostly cities alive, and people work, and children go to school. Sometimes it's very difficult. Sometimes closer to front line, children have to go to underground schools or online, but we live. Ukraine is fighting, and Ukraine lives. This is very important. And maybe it's Putin is sharing this information that he destroyed us. No, he lost 700,000 people, 700,000 soldiers. He lost everything. Yes. So.
Mr. President, one more. I mentioned Poland.
Please go ahead.
When did you last speak with President Putin, and what did he say that?
A couple of days ago.
And what did he tell you that gave you the assurance that he wanted peace?
Well, that's what I do. My whole life is deals. I know pretty good. And I've known him for a long time. I've dealt with him for a long time. He had to suffer through the Russia hoax. You know, Russia was a hoax. It was all Biden. It was nothing to do with him. So he had to suffer through that, and he was able to do that. I think that he wants to make a deal, and he'd like to see it end. That's all I do. That's what I do. My whole life, that's what I do, is make deals. And I'm in the middle of a mess, because this is a real mess. It's a very dangerous one. If this doesn't get solved now, it's not going to get solved for a long time. So I hope we're going to get it solved. In the back, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Prime Minister Starmer claimed repeatedly that his government believes in free speech and was not engaged in censorship. But his country's government arrests people for crimes, and even more worrisome is pressuring American companies to censor Americans on his behalf. How can he be a reliable, trustworthy partner when he says things that are demonstrably false on such an important topic?
Well, we actually spoke to him about that yesterday, and we thought they took it very, very much too far. JD was very strong on it. So was I. So was Marco. And we've been speaking to him about it. Marco, would you like to say something about that?
We have concerns, obviously, with the conduct of those, particularly as it impacts Americans. And there's real concern that American speech, which is online, could fall into the hands of British or any country's jurisdiction. And so this is a point the Vice President made at Munich, and I think it's a very compelling one, that what unites us with Europe, as much as anything else, is these shared values, and one of them being free speech. And so if Americans are threatened by it, we're going to need to take action in that regard.
Mr. President.
It's actually a very important question.
We spoke about this in detail with the Prime Minister, the Foreign Secretary, and others at lunch yesterday. And I know that Secretary of Commerce Lutnick followed up in private meetings last night. This is really important. We believe Americans have the right to speak their mind, even if we in this room disagree with them. They have the right to speak their mind in the public square, which is often online these days. And we're going to defend that right as it pertains to American companies and American citizens vigorously if we have to. I do think that under the President's leadership, we're going to find common ground with our friends in the UK on this question, but it remains to be seen. The principle that will guide us is we believe in free speech in this country and we'll fight for it for American citizens.
Mr. President, on the deal, is there any other oil and gas component to the deal? Is it all critical?
A little bit. We'll see.
On LNG?
But we're not really looking for that so much. We got a lot. We have more than anybody in the world, by far. So no, we're not talking about it too much, but a little bit. I think it affects also, but for the most part, no.
And sir, is there any agreement from Ukraine to purchase U.S. LNG as part of the deal, or is that on the table at all?
No, we don't need that.
Mr. President, I just wanted to ask you about, you just mentioned that you'd spoken to Vladimir Putin a couple of days ago. Just to be clear, that's a new call, not the one that you...
I've spoken to him on numerous occasions.
Okay, and how was the latest call? What did you discuss? How did it go?
Are you serious with that question?
I am, I'd love to know.
It went well. I think we're going to have a deal.
On the minerals deal, Mr. President, some of those minerals are in the east of Ukraine, not far from the front lines and in areas that Russia has occupied. Will you direct President Putin to withdraw his forces from those areas if there's U.S. interest?
Well, we'll take a look at the time. We have a lot of area. It's a very big area we're talking about, so we'll take a look. I'll study that and I'll see.
And who would protect those minerals if they are U.S. interests? Would that be Ukrainian forces?
They'll be protected.
European
The agreement
forces?
will protect them.
U.S.
The
forces?
agreement, yeah, we're signing an agreement.
Right, but what if Russia tries to invade or there's Russian aggression in those spots?
I just told you, I don't think that's going to happen. And if that were going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal. If I thought that was going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal.
Some people may wonder why.
You know, they ought to focus on CNN on survival, not asking me. Let's go. Please, go.
I already mentioned Poland. Poland was under Russian control for decades after the Second World War. When I was a kid, I looked at the United States not only as a most powerful country, richest country in the world, the country that has great music, great movies, great muscle cars, but also as a force for good.
They also have laws that
And now I'm talking with my friends in Poland, and they are worried that you align yourself too much with Putin. What's your message for them?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, you know, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough.
This is where it goes, I think.
But you're never going to get a deal that way, so that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
Hey, I want to respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words matter more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014.
I'm keeping an eye on the live shot too.
So during a lot of years, I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014.
2014 and 2014.
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
that's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. Gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you
is
have
the one
problems
who gets disrespectful
bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards.
I'm not playing cards.
Right now, you don't.
You're
playing cards.
Mr. President.
You're playing cards.
Serious.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's back to you. Far more than a lot.
Yeah, this is where we came in. This is where we came in. I understand. Woo. So it's just interesting to me at what point it really goes downhill. It's interesting to me what point. Let's get some fire in our viewpoint here. Bring it down a notch. Hold on, I'm sorry. Let me get where's my little word? Little baby word. There it is. All right. Take a breath. Take a breath. Take a breath. Zelensky knew exactly what he was doing and made specific choices in his language so as not to completely step on everybody's dicks, but to be insistent that they weren't as close to a deal as was being portrayed, and he wasn't going to stand by and see that and be made a puppet in that moment. So I cannot tell you how brave it was, I think, for him to say, let me speak on exactly what is missing from this deal or what is necessary to this deal for the security of my people. And remember, this is a man who said, I think a week ago, that he would step down as president if Ukraine was allowed to join NATO. And I get that, you know, he could be a flawed individual. He could be this, he could be that. But consistently what I hear from him is speaking out for the people that he leads. He is, to me, a very strong servant leader in that regard. And I'm sure he's got all kinds of other issues. But at the moment, what he's really done is step up and speak truth to power. And while I agree that this will be used by the right as a beatdown and a win, if you will, while they will use it for that, they would regardless. By the way, okay, it doesn't matter what happens in the room; they're always going to spin it the way they need to spin it. Okay, it's just either it's going to be more evidence by video for their headline, or it's going to be less video for their headline. That's all the difference is. That's all the difference. Point of order. Vance butted in and presented a counterfactual history. Yes. And so what Zelensky did was both ensure that his history was not memory hold in those moments, and that it was clear what he was really there to accomplish for the Ukrainian people and for Europe, really, the security of the people around him, I should say. Oh, it was canceled? Because Trump didn't want to take questions alone. Wait, so they're not... Wait, okay, let me get to the... Sorry, I'll get to the link here. Okay, breaking. The Zelensky-Trump press conference has just been canceled after the Oval Office meeting devolved into a shouting match. There you go. Sorry, meant to emphasize the and. Point of order. Vance buried it and presented a counterfactual history. Yeah, and I don't know. Here's what I wonder. This is just the geek in me. Okay, so forgive me. But the geek in me is like, was Vance's butt in? Because it was pretty standard propaganda points, right? It was pretty standard fluff up the president type of language. Was that done intentionally to break or to accelerate some kind of conflict and to further humiliate JD, as Michael Weiss reported on Twitter? Let me show you, because Gal shared this with me. It's obvious that they invited him to Washington to humiliate him. This is theater for the benefit of their base and, of course, a suddenly very happy man in Moscow. And I agree with that. And I would also add that I think that it was, oh, wow, man, what was the thought? It was kind of like it was more than just to humiliate him. It was obviously the extortion. And what I see as Zelensky has done in this, although I understand that, I think the and to his statement, I guess. The and to his statement is Zelensky capitalized on that moment to advance key information to the American people as his and the world, really, because Europe is watching, right? Whatever, Baltics outlet. So it's just so interesting to me about whether JD just kind of lost his shit and said, I'm gonna do what Michael Weiss is saying I'm doing. I'm gonna go in and do even more humiliation, or if it was a mistake and it was an impulse, and he and just kind of like said, I'm mad and I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Like, was that impulse control, lack of impulse control on JD's part, or was that strategic to try and belittle Zelensky even more, or fluff up the president, right? Defend Trump, right? Yeah, Zelensky is more eloquent. He's all the things. All right, let me. Oh, wow, this is a lot. This is a lot. Okay, hold on. Let me go to these things. All right. Here we go. Oh, that's not the right one. Where is it? Is it that one? Oh, yeah. Swear. No. Yes, yes. All right. There it is. All right. So, it's a little bigger. All right, Liz Cheney says on Blue Sky, generations of American patriots from our revolution onward have fought for the principles Zelensky is risking his life to defend. But today, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance attacked Zelensky and pressured him to surrender the freedom of his people to the KGB war criminal who invaded Ukraine. History will remember this day when an American president and vice president abandoned all we stand for. I mean, she's not wrong. She's not wrong. I mean, she's Liz Cheney, but she's not wrong. I don't like it when you send me a crying face and a heartbroken. Military families need to start asking themselves what they will do when Trump and Hegseth tries to send them to help Putin. Steve also brings a good point up, or shoot protesters, wherever they may be. Yes. Yes. Yeah, the conversation within the military for that should have already happened because it's been under threat for so long. Wow. Wow. Let me see what else I had on the docket because I want to make sure that it's not like more trauma porn. Let's see this. Andrew Feinberg. What was... Oh, I had this. This is the Secretary of Defense memo. Val, you give them too much credit. They're always impulsive until heritage reins them in. You know, and I don't know. I mean, it's also Teal, Val. It's a lot of people. A lot of people have influence over these clowns. And yeah, of course, Kevin Roberts and all those dick faces. Who's the other guy? Leonard Leo. They all influence different aspects, right? Different voices in his ear. Different speechwriters. Different handlers. But I just wonder, you know, I wonder in the nuance space, which is when I think about language. See, language is kind of my nerd out, and I'm not good at like linguistics. I only toyed with linguistics in college and stuff like that, so I'm not like very learned. But I'm just so curious about. Did you mean to do that? That's kind of the question I always ask in my head. Did you mean to do that? I'm not sure I want to read this memo right now. I got to be honest. I'll link it. It's 11 pages, and it's basically removing an entire category of people. I'm going to check my DMs. Teresa's dropping hot bombs, hot donuts. Hot donuts shared by Teresa. That's your new theme song, Teresa. Well, we can work on it. That's just a first draft. Hot donuts by Teresa. What would be a better one? Hot pizza by Teresa. What? What? I know, I can't read that right now. Yeah. True, but neither TFG or JD. Yeah, well, that's true. I think JD is actually really bad at it. Daytime space, let's do it. I'm in. I'm in. I don't know. I mean, I can host, but I can't like lead a good conversation except for to do the same thing I do here, which might be loopy, and I don't want to loop people. I need to process what just happened in the Oval Office of the country I no longer recognize. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't even, yeah, you're absolutely, butterflies, that's it. I mean, I really do. And we just talked about using the word hate, but I just cannot abide. I cannot abide. I cannot abide. I just don't, I didn't think it would be this bad. I admit that. I just think, like, and that doesn't, I'm not trying to be a snark about it. I'm just saying, wow, I really didn't think it would be this bad. Wow. I really just didn't think it would be so unreined. And this is literally the most dangerous part of this administration is the people who are around this fucking mouthpiece, or these two mouthpieces. It's all the donors, it's all the staff, it's all the people. There are literally no adults. There are literally no adults. No, oh, Muskie, I'm so sorry. Oh, love. Oh, be safe. Oh, just be safe. Be so careful. Be so careful. Hope it resolves soon. I'm going to go ahead. I will go ahead and wrap this, but I mean, the final words that I'm going to leave you with this morning, and then we'll schedule the space, Gal, for whenever you want to do it. I'm gonna like be okay with my outrage right now because I don't want to let go of that outrage. I'm gonna try and find real empathy right now for all the people that he just completely abandoned, and this is many populations that he's abandoned. He's abandoned the immigrant population, and we're gonna go walk with them tomorrow side by side against this administration. The trans community has been completely abandoned by this administration. The LGBTQ community is being abandoned by this administration. Federal civil servants and the infrastructure of our United States government is being abandoned, and that means that we, the people, are being abandoned by this administration. And I hope that it is not just about Trump or just about JD. I hope it is about this entire administration that has been curated with fuckwads that are determined to bring down what is good about a flawed system of government, a flawed and imperfect, but with aspiration to be better. And that's right now, that's more than good enough for me, although I understand that should never be good enough. Aspiration is not action. But we cannot give up. And I'm not trying to be cheesy. I'm just saying, I know this feels very, really fucking hard right now. I know, I imagine. And for some people more than others. And my heart breaks. I believe, I will leave you with this. I believe this actually was a good thing. That what has been done is a curtain has been pulled back. Now, people will interpret what they see behind the curtain differently. We know this. That's not going to be shocking. But it is a necessary step in media literacy that the monsters expose themselves, and then reasonable thinking people who do care about others in the world, who may have cared more about the price of eggs or, whatever. This may be a tipping point for some that it wasn't before, for whatever reason. And my hope is that this is a moment that allows people to see more clearly if they haven't before. Now, that then also needs to turn into action. And as we spoke about this morning, I don't know what can happen or whether the impact of the midterms will make the difference that it traditionally would. But again, we work with inspiration and aspiration, right? And that drives action. And there's where my headspace is that Zelensky pulled back a curtain and took at great risk. But he knew that's what he had to do. In that moment, he had to stand up. He had to stand up and say, no, there's no diplomacy. We were invaded. Of course, 2026 will be too late. We definitely have to stand up now. But I'm also saying that when we look forward to that, we cannot take for granted that this is so very fraught. And the rules have definitely changed. Oh, the Vote Vet stream yesterday covered a lot of good stuff about the time we're in. Oh, excellent. County Democrats meeting tomorrow for you. Excellent. Oh, babe, Lee. So that's my take. I choose to look at this as an incredibly brave moment where the curtain was pulled back and let the cards fall where they may, because we understand that people are ridiculous. If nothing else, we know people are fucking ridiculous. No rare earth deal. Oh, wow. Through the streets. So, hold fast, dear friends. Hold fast to the beauty that is possible in this world, and that let this be inspiration to action, however form that takes. And let's be intentional about making this the best place for people to be, regardless of who they are. Put security over Trump's ego. Yeah. Zelensky did what every Republican should. Put security over Trump's ego. Well said, Vote Vets. So, watch X, and I'll share the Twitter Space link as it comes up in all the places. So X, Blue Sky, YouTube, Discord, all the good stuff. So in case you want to listen in, or you just need to, scream on mic, you can certainly do that. Okay. All right. So yeah, this is one of many people that this administration is trying to disappear from the earth, and the Gazans and everyone. So we fight. So we fight. We fight. All right. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks a lot for coming. It's been quite a morning. Wait, we need to have some campfire as we leave. Oh, shitter is an economic activity. Understood. The movie, I think it's going to be at 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. Thanks. No problem. Move. Lot to absorb. Take it easy on your brain space. I mean, that's just my advice. My unsolicited advice. Yeah, don't let anyone take your strength. Total love and hugs. Total. Absolutely back at ya. Thank you. Thank you guys for coming. I'm really glad we did this together. 8:30. Yes, Jane. 8:30 Eastern. 8:30 Eastern. The conversation with Gene Hackman, and then an amazing Max Flower exclusive after, would to be named, because I've got some to go through. Yeah. And make sure you restore your energy too. You know, I need quiet time and some old blues to restore my soul. So I might do that. Yeah, I'm kind of creeping in on 5/8. I apologized for that earlier, but we've got a long movie, so I want to give people a chance to have a decent bedtime hour. Although we could pull an all-nighter too, baby, and I would be all right with that. We might just put on stupid old movies the whole night. You don't know. You don't know what I might do. All right. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Guard your soul. Guard your heart. Guard your heart. And I'm going to choose to look at this as a good moment for global democracy, for global humanity, for humanity. I'm going to say, Zelensky, you stood up for all of us, really. So thank you, sir. Thank you for doing that. Truth to power. I've seen on Mac's movie The Giant Crabs. Yeah, I know the crabs were great. We've got so many good movies. Max is like she's curated so much good stuff. Oh, well, even if you could just hang and just listen as you drift off. Remember, I always save you guys. I will disconnect you from the room after the movie ends in case you happen to drift off. That's actually delightful. Slava Ukraina. Yeah. All right. Take care. I'll see you later. Yeah, gird your loins. Steel your spine. Hold on to your butts. That's what Samuel L. Jackson would say. And I like that. I like that energy. All right.